Welcome. The season is over. I don't know why I sound so excited about that, but low-key, it's been a long year. But welcome into our last kind of recap style show. We're also going to go through some Dynasty sells today. We have a special guest that even though Elon Musk drove him away, I have managed to find him. So, yeah. Spence, welcome back. It's been a while.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just perusing Twitter casually right now to reminisce.
What's up?
Hello.
How we doing?
Good.
Spence was reminiscing. How is the Twitter reminiscing? How does Twitter look to you?
Me?
The same.
Oh, sorry, Spencer. Go ahead.
It looks the same.
It looks the same.
Yeah,
the same sad
glorious.
Old place it always was.
Cesspool,
Yeah. It's it's still, I still like it, but people are mean on Twitter. You know?
Yeah, people are very mean. Very, very mean.
It benefits you to be mean, you know?
Oh, it so does. It
can benefit you to be really nice too, but you run the risk of
the worst
being
thing.
Exposed.
Yeah, the
I
worst
try
thing
not
is
to be mean.
The worst thing is to be like in the middle.
That's me. That's what I was.
I know, and
I tried, but it's hard, man. Out there
hard.
on the streets.
You have the people who do the best are either the nicest or the meanest.
Yep, totally agree.
Which one am I? I don't think it's the nicest.
Yeah,
I'm not that mean.
No,
but
you just have tough skin.
No,
I do not have tough skin. I do not have tough skin. No, not
you
at
wouldn't
all.
be here without it. You wouldn't be here
to a degree. I just I have enough people who like me that I can just tell everyone who doesn't like me to go fuck themselves, and I still have a large audience. Like I can just only focus on the people who support me and just tell everyone who doesn't like me to go fuck off, and I can still have a show that way. Where some people can't do that.
No. Yeah, I can't do that.
Well, you also don't have it in you.
Wait. I gotta address
you also
this.
don't have it in you to tell people to go fuck themselves.
Oh no, I don't. I don't see the point. Like I felt really humbled yesterday.
If it's you, you should do it. But if it's not you, you shouldn't do it.
No, it's not me. I don't have it in me to do that.
You should
I just know
you're great as you.
Yeah,
like, you don't have to. Don't like. We're different people. Like I can't be you. Like you're nice and like caring, and while I can be nice and caring, and thank you for telling me that I'm old. Thank you. Thank you, Spencer.
I just wanted to get
really
that
what
in
I
there.
wanted to hear is that I'm old.
Well, he just has much to learn, and you're, wise.
I don't know how to say that. I don't know how to say that. No. But thank you. I remember a show we did back in the day, Spence. It was just you and me. We did a long recap. I think it was in 2021. Yeah, remember that? Yeah. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. It was actually the last show that I did before Ryan and I started doing this show every week.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And Ryan got this job permanently, and we never looked back, really, right?
No. But I do want to address as a comment already I saw on YouTube.
Yes.
Sam Howell.
Well,
I don't know why I was telling Ryan.
I feel like it was a Sam Howell truth.
Yeah.
Well,
I was a pioneer of that shit.
Nobody watched my video. They didn't watch the video. I did a whole video about it, but nobody watched it. I thought it was really good. It was on this channel, but nobody watched it. So it is still there. You can go watch it. It's 12 minutes about Sam Howell.
After this week or last week?
No, it was before. It was before
it started.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
He's not going to get a fair chance to compete.
I don't think so. But
I don't think so.
It would be awesome. I mean, they gave Heineke a shot a little bit.
I don't think. No, I think they're done with the. I think they're going to go after like a really big quarterback. I don't think they're going to try.
Like who?
Yeah, but that just hasn't been working.
Welcome down.
Like they tried Carson Wentz.
I don't think they're going to let him do it. I think they're going to go after somebody else.
I just think that everybody's watched the Colts fail at that and said that's not a good game plan. And then they just watched Matthew Stafford also. I mean, it kind of worked out. Yeah, it kind of worked out, kind of didn't. And then Russell Westbrook definitely didn't work out.
If you're in the chat, put stuff in the chat. Otherwise, I get to talk forever. And we don't want that. Then I'll start insulting people. Or talking about Ryan's bed. or how Conan's wearing a hat to cover his hair. Got to think of something for Hutch.
Come on, lay it on me. Paris Campbell.
Yeah. What about me? What about me, Tyler?
Well, Paris Campbell made it through a full season, Ryan. I mean, I never thought it would happen, but Antonio Gibson didn't. So we're gonna have to remember that.
I feel like we knew that though, right?
Who? Antonio
Nobody
Gibson?
expects a full. Yeah, nobody expects a full season for a running back. Any running back.
Sure, but he also sucks.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Whoopsie. It's not like anyone we know really liked him. It certainly wasn't me. I didn't like him.
I loved him.
I know.
2 years ago and last year.
I really thought he was. When I saw him in his rookie year, I thought he was talented. I thought, like, watching him in his rookie year, I thought he was supremely talented, and it just hadn't worked out.
They never used him right. I remember that.
No, I agree. They have not used him right.
That one screen against Buffalo had me fooled forever. I thought, wow, they're finally using him right, and then no targets.
Yeah.
It all went back to McKissick.
Yeah, I will try to.
I want to go to that question.
Yeah, no, we're going to. It's here for you. I know.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And if you're here, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell. For now, this is the only place you can find me. Ask DLF. Well, I might as well just announce it here. So, Ask DLF. Oh, Hutch, I can see the look on Hutch's face. It's when I make an announcement without telling anyone anything. It's always the funniest thing to get the reaction live on the show.
Because I'm a co-host on this show. I want to know what's going on.
I'm aware. No, you would not. No one told you about this.
Yeah.
So, Ask DLF is going to be retired. As in, that name is going to be retired with Cal and Addison. We are not going to call it Ask DLF. The show's coming back. I'm already booking guests. Don't worry, Hutch. It's not going off the air. January 31st, it will come back 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday nights from then on out. It will be simulcast on this channel. It will also be on the DLF YouTube channel. January 31st will be the first show. I've already been booking some guests, and it will be every Tuesday from then on out. Don't worry, the show's not being canceled. But it will not be called Ask DLF. I don't want to use that name anymore. That's a name that Cal came up with, actually, and Addison when he was helping produce the show and then joined it. I want to leave that name in the past. So we're going to call it something else. I might not call it anything, to be honest. I might just call it whatever we're talking about that week, whatever different titles every week. I might not give the show a name, but we will not call it Ask DLF. So Ask DLF, the show and brand, will be retired, and we're going to call it something else. But the show's coming back. It's just we'll call it something else. Yeah. And other than that, we'll continue to be here every Monday. I love how I scared Hutch. That was my favorite part.
You did. You scared me. No one ever you don't tell me, and then you announce it on
true.
a live stream.
This is one thing about working.
This is
one thing about working with me that I think everyone on this show would agree with is that I never tell anyone anything until I usually just make an announcement. Sometimes on the show. Sometimes I haven't even thought about it before I make the announcement.
No, it's usually nice though because I come on today and Spence's pretty face is looking at me and I'm like, oh,
yeah, I didn't tell anyone about that either.
Yeah, you didn't tell us about that either. Thank you, Tyler.
Well, I wanted to surprise Ryan most of all.
Yeah, I jumped in. I saw Spence. I was like, let's go.
Yeah. I wanted to surprise Ryan because I know that we used to have the fantasy weather show. You act like I don't remember it. I have a long memory.
This feels.
If I really wanted to surprise you, I would have gotten Matt on here. See if I could have done that.
That would have been something.
He covers NHL now. I don't know if he's still even doing NFL.
He's a busy guy.
Yeah,
very busy.
I'm sure I could have gotten him. Maybe I'll have to surprise you, Ryan.
Oh, sweet, Spence. I have a question because I knew you left Twitter a while ago. Did you come back? Because they were asking you about how Twitter looks. Did you come back to Twitter?
I'm just while we're on this show, I was just looking through it, see if I saw anything that we might talk about. But no, I'm not coming back.
Okay.
You shouldn't.
Did Matt change his name on Twitter? Is he not Matthew Frost anymore? Oh no, he is.
No, he has another account. He has two accounts.
Yeah, I see.
He has one, his old account, and then his NHL account.
He does have one there.
But yeah, I appreciate Chogdor for this comment. And then the off-season program, we'll continue doing these shows. We're gonna have a topic this is the last show where we'll have a full week of NFL to recap, but we will continue to talk about the playoffs as the playoffs go, because like we know from Gabe Davis last year, playoff performances can affect fantasy value, dynasty value. I mean, without that playoff game, he probably isn't the dynasty value that he was or whatever throughout the offseason. So we know that it can, everyone's watching during the playoffs, right? So everyone's watching. So big playoff performances maybe is not as important as a big performance in the fantasy championship. That's, probably even more important, but a big performance during the real life playoffs can affect your dynasty value significantly. So we'll just have to keep that in mind and see if there's any storylines that come out. But yeah, and then of course the Patreon, as we'll obviously get to a lot throughout the show. There is some news, but it's mostly coaches stuff, so we'll get to that as it comes up. What's Baltimore's plan with quarterback when Lamar goes to Atlanta? I don't think that's going to happen.
He's going to New York.
No, he's going nowhere.
To New York.
Man, it really doesn't look good right now. It's looking worse and worse.
He's
but
going back to Baltimore.
I'm still a believer that he's going back to Baltimore. I don't think he's going anywhere. It's just like
they're going to franchise tag him. They're not going to let him walk for nothing.
Yeah, when you see these situations, have a franchise quarterback who wants a lot of money, the team doesn't want to give it to him. The quarterback wins in the end because he's a franchise quarterback. You have to keep him. Like, I just don't see a world where he is walking.
Oh, there's a world in which he's traded, franchise tagged him and traded. But
yeah, that's what
possibly.
I mean.
But
where would he even?
It's very unlikely.
Where would he go?
Well, he's not walking right now.
I think the Jets would look at him.
The Jets.
His knee's hurt.
The Jets would absolutely go after that.
Is his knee really hurt, or is he just holding out? I feel like
he's holding out.
His
knee is
kind of insinuated that
he could play. He's holding out. There's no way. I think he could play.
Oh, there's no way. Why would he not play?
He's
killing it. He's killing his value for a long-term extension. This is not helping. Like I don't agree. I think he would be playing. He's killing.
He hasn't been like actually practicing in like any capacity. Like I don't think he's like.
He's cost himself probably 50 or 60 million by not playing. So if this is his strategy to get more money, it's not working very well. It's not working. So I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a dumb strategy, but that doesn't mean it's not happening because,
I think he's hurt. Why can't he just be hurt? I mean, he got hurt. And I think what happened is that the Ravens have been lying to us.
I'm not saying that's not part of it. I think there's a little more going on.
No, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. It's that he was always going to be out for an extended period of time. He was never coming back. And the Ravens have been during the season, and the Ravens have been lying to us. They've been saying, oh, well, he might come back. He might come back. But this is true. Harbaugh has a record of being a big liar about injuries. He was never going to be ready. I think the whole plan was that, look, if he doesn't start this week, then who knows what the problem was. But I fully expect him to start this week during the playoffs.
He should.
I think if the playoffs had been last week, he would have played. I think if the playoffs had been week 17, he would have played. But it wasn't the playoffs, so he didn't play. They were probably going to make the playoffs without him. They only need to win like one of those last 4 games or something. This is it. This is the playoffs. He's going to play, and we'll see how he does. I mean, I don't think they're going to win. But we'll have to see. They're going to franchise tag him. If he gets traded, I mean, like I said, there are a few teams that would be interested. Atlanta, for me, is high on that list. Carolina, we know they're desperate. They're desperate. They've been trying to get a real quarterback for years. And I do think a team that's under the radar is actually Tennessee. You see the kind of offense they want to run. It doesn't include passing the ball.
I think Derrick Henry could get traded this offseason.
That's a whole separate story. I'm just saying, you see the kind of offense Tennessee wants to run. Coach Vrabel wants to do. He doesn't want to throw the ball. So Lamar Jackson would be a good fit for him. If he doesn't want to throw the ball, Lamar Jackson is perfect. He'll fit in perfectly.
I wouldn't want to throw the ball if Josh Dobbs is my quarterback either. So,
I do think it's slightly more likely if he's getting traded that it's to the NFC. So Atlanta, Carolina are at the top of that list. I would have said the Giants, but I feel like the Giants are.
No. I think they're going to
try Daniel Jones.
Yeah, they're going to go with Daniel Jones.
I think they're good with Daniel Jones.
I think the Jets. I don't know if they get him. But I think the Jets will make a strong push for Lamar Jackson.
I just think it's more likely to go to the NFC. And also the Atlanta and Carolina, they have higher picks this year that they can offer than the Jets. Atlanta's 8, Carolina's 9. It's a little bit higher. Yeah. Seattle also. I mean, Geno Smith is fine, but Pete Carroll doesn't like to throw the ball either.
No.
And Lamar Jackson, maybe he'd actually do better as a passer with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Would crush those two though. I'd feel so bad for DK.
Oh, they would be. Yeah, they would be. Yeah.
Lamar's like fantasy poison.
What about the Raiders?
I just don't see that as.
That's interesting
because I feel like Davante Adams is not going to be happy with Lamar Jackson. I don't think that's going to work for him. For someone who wants that kind of, I feel like they've committed. They're stuck under Davante Adams, so I feel like they're going to need a quarterback who throws the ball. So I don't think that's going to work.
I think he's going to force his way out, or hold out or something.
I do think, to be really honest with you, I think Atlanta is one of the highest teams on the list.
It's up there. Atlanta's a team.
Carolina is just as desperate, but Atlanta has better. I was gonna say they have better weapons, but I guess they do.
Kyle Pitts and Drake London compared to DJ Moore.
Tyler Algier has come on a little bit, at least giving them something in the backfield.
Algier's looked.
They could get another running back to complement him, but he's come on a little bit. It's giving them something to work with. And, Drake London, again, he was good at the beginning, kind of down in the middle, but he's kind of come on at the end again. So he has something to work with there.
And you still have Kyle Pitts.
Well,
too, when he comes back.
Kyle Pitts, you do have him. And we know that Lamar worked pretty well with Mark Andrews. So there's some potential.
Mean, that division's probably going to be pretty wide open. Maybe Atlanta makes the push because
especially like Tom Brady leaves Tampa.
To be really honest with you, I think that Lamar is going to stay in Baltimore.
Yeah, I think he is too. I don't think he's leaving Baltimore.
I don't know.
It'd be so tough to see him leave.
It's tough. It's going to cost so much to get him. I think they'll work it out. Or if they don't, I mean, there's still 2 franchise tags left.
I don't feel like Lamar's going to be the kind of guy to play under the franchise tag.
I don't know if he can do that either.
What choice does he have?
Hold out.
That's fine.
You could lay down Bellet. You never know.
You never know, but I don't think that's going to really benefit him.
I don't think playing with his play style will really benefit him either, though. He's trying to get that long-term money, and with the way he plays, like, it's not like a sure thing like these other guys, like, like a Kirk Cousins, who's probably not going to run around all that much. But I just think that Lamar needs the money. He wants the money now, and I think he deserves it, obviously. But
yeah, well, let's get to the JT question since Spence is here. As a rebuilder, what's the lowest wide receiver you'd trade JT straight up for?
Oh man. Wow.
I want to hear your guys' stuff first.
What's the lowest wide receiver I would trade JT straight up for? I'm trying to look at.
You looking at the startup we're in? Yeah, you are. I see the green dot on.
I mean,
I am looking at our startup. I totally are. I'm totally looking at our startup. You caught me red-handed, bro.
Well, I was gonna go do the same thing.
Maybe you guys should do a startup.
Yeah, you did the same thing. We're both in a startup together right now. We both.
Maybe
just pulled it up.
I should do a startup. Wouldn't that be exciting?
I think the top 4: Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb. I don't think I would trade those guys for Jonathan Taylor, but after that, I would.
No. He's saying like you're trading away.
Yeah,
like you're trading JT away to get a wide receiver.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
JT didn't make my list of dynasty sells, but he could have.
That's a lot more interesting.
I really want to say Jalen Waddle. I'm really tempted.
I think that's good.
To me, I'd easily rather have Jalen Waddle.
That's an interesting name. Stephon Diggs?
No. Stephon Diggs is way further along the age curve than Jonathan Taylor.
You'd rather have JT.
Do you think you're at the point where you get Olave plus? I know they said straight up.
It would have to be plus with Olave.
Yeah, you'd have to get Olave plus. Yes.
I don't have the same. Okay, so Chris Olave, he's a better version of what I said he would be. I
was very in on Chris Olave. I loved him coming out.
Yeah, but he's just doesn't have that. There's something missing about Chris Olave. There's something that Garrett Wilson has that Chris Olave doesn't. I'd rather have Garrett Wilson over Jonathan Taylor in Dynasty, by the way.
Yes, I would too.
But Chris Olave, no, because I don't think Chris Olave has that same. Garrett Wilson screams superstar, and Chris Olave screams very good. And there's a difference. If I'm going to trade away a running back like that, I want superstar. I don't want very good.
Man,
it's got to be a superstar.
Higgins? T. Higgins?
No. Is Garrett Wilson?
You'd rather have Higgins,
right? Wide receiver 6 or 7 for you?
7.
7? That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, that's not crazy at all.
I mean, I like him, but I don't like him that much.
I think you could.
There's just no one else. There's no one else. There aren't that many good.
I think you could argue him into the top 5. I think you could.
The top 5's pretty secure to me. I mean, Jefferson, Chase, Lamb, Waddle, and Brown are pretty far ahead of everyone else. To be honest with you, I have Amon-Ra at 6, and then Garrett Wilson at 7.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Amon-Ra has been really
good. Spence does not love that.
Yo, that's crazy.
No, that's very
crazy
fair.
How much the world has changed, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that's the same. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Just how much. I mean, there was a world in after the draft that Jameson Williams was ranked ahead of Amon-Ra in Dynasty.
Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't long ago. That was crazy.
I don't know though. I don't think it was that. Amon had to be above him.
He wasn't.
Just because of the injury. There's no way he was ever below him.
He wasn't. After the draft, Jameson Williams was ahead. Most rankings and ADP. It switched pretty quickly when people realized in June that
I bet
Jameson Williams
I was going to say, I bet it switched
soon.
Before a game was played.
Oh, it did. Yeah. When people realized Jameson Williams was nowhere near
stupid.
being ready, then it switched back. But in the post-draft hype, Jameson Williams was ahead.
That's crazy to me because I don't even think you could have traded. I think you could have traded to 106 or 7 with Amon-Ra. And there's and Jameson was going in some drafts at the end of the first.
Amon-Ra is just, man, here's just so good.
He is excellent.
106 catches, pretty good.
It's really good.
It's pretty all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right.
JT, I don't know. I like him, but
that offense is just such a disaster.
It's so bad. Right, it's not gonna get better, is it?
What quarterback are they to get?
CJ Stroud. I mean, the situation played out perfectly yesterday. To get a
Isn't Derek Carr the odds-on favorite to open the season as the Colts starting quarterback?
That was before they secured.
I think Derek Carr is going to open the season as a Jets starting quarterback.
That's also. I think those are. I think he's going to be the starter.
The Colts
on one
are
of those
a bad
teams.
team. The Colts are a bad team. Putting Derek Carr on this roster would not have made them a playoff team. They would not have made them. With Derek Carr.
Rivers did it.
But that was a couple years ago. This team is bad. I mean, failure Ballard. Failure Ballard and failure Reich have set this team up for a big disaster over a big failure. I mean, we all complained about Ryan Grigson and how bad of a general manager he is. And Chris Ballard has come in and has been just as horrible. Just as horrible. I mean, every move he's made, he's had a good draft pick here and there, but there have been so many mistakes.
Important positions or unimportant positions.
There have been so many big mistakes.
You think Saturday will come back?
Oh, I hope not. I mean, he was an incompetent head coach. He made Frank Reich look like a good coach. Which is difficult to do, by the way. But he managed to do that. So I really hope not. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to be their next head coach.
Ooh.
I think.
I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that's what I think.
That's a good thing for JT.
I mean, it's an upgrade.
It's not a bad thing. I mean, it's better than Reich.
It's better for JT. There's no question.
I don't think it matters.
Anything is better for JT.
I don't think it matters. I think the coaching staff's really going to change anything. I think what needs to change is that they need to acquire better offensive linemen, and the offense has to not be putrid. Not the coaching staff. The problem is the general manager. They need to get
but I mean,
coaching staff's not going to do anything with the quarterback they had this year. No coach would have made that a good offense. No matter who you are.
If you're talking about just coaches, though, I mean, philosophies are important.
I'm not really worried about that. Jonathan Taylor is so good. I think.
Oh no, I agree.
Any coach is going to use him. I think the problem is the offensive line. The problem is quarterback. The problem is not having a passing game that if you can put 8 in the box, I mean, I don't care how good you are. It's hard to run against 8 in the box. This is the NFL. This is not college. If you have a shitty offensive line and you're running against 8 in the box, how good are you going to be? I don't care if you're the best running back in the league. It doesn't matter.
There's a certain Colts wide receiver that's on my Dynasty sell list as well, which we're going to get to.
Yeah, we're going to have to get to that. Well, no, speaking of coaching changes, what about this one? What do you think about Kupp's value with a potential mass exodus? Let's talk about a mass exodus. There's no mass exodus. Matthew Stafford is not going anywhere. Matthew Stafford is not retiring. Do I think that Kupp's value is going down? Yes, but it'd be going down anyway.
I think it's a solid opportunity. I think right now we're in a solid opportunity to sell Cooper Kupp because I think the team is only going to get.
How are you going to sell him now? Everything about him is bad. He's injured. The coach is leaving. Stafford is who knows what. How are you
maybe not right now, but as we get more towards the season, we know he's healthy, and we know he's healthy again. Like I think that's more of a better time to sell. But
yeah, I agree with that.
The value is not going to go up from here. I feel like
of course not. 30-year-old players, the value doesn't go up.
Yeah, he's not going to go up. So I feel like right now is the best. You're going to get the biggest price tag from him right now.
Yeah, but I said that last year. Now it's too late. I think to a degree now I think it's too late. I mean, maybe it's not. I mean, it depends on what you can get, but
he just went the second round of me and Ryan's startup draft here. He went in the second round.
Yeah, but remember he said, "Is this a dynasty league?" Oh no.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know if he was trolling or not, but
no, I know he wasn't trolling.
That's a
one of those things where it definitely feels too late, and to sell them right, like I feel like it's risky, but you kind of gotta wait a little bit because some news will come out clarifying things, and it might actually be bad, and it might make his value go even lower than it is right this second. But there's a shot that it goes up just a tiny bit. Whether it's some people still think Stafford might not be back, like whether he fully confirms that or whatever happens with McVay, some of the other pieces. It's like I feel like something's going to come out where it'll give you some more clarity and maybe the tiniest little spike of because these things, they just come and go the window where everyone gets real excited about something, and then all of a sudden within a week it's like, oh wait, why did we do that? It's like you see it all the time for a guy that moves teams or something else happens newsworthy on their team. And so I feel like you said, it is too late. It feels too late compared to what you were saying last offseason. But at this point, you might as well just kind of hold for a little bit and kind of hope for just a little spike.
Wait, hold on. I just saw this news for the first time. Sorry. You guys saw Cliff Kingsbury fired?
Oh,
I didn't see that.
Don't worry. I
didn't see that.
I have a list of things we're going to talk about incompetent Kingsbury. That's what I would. Honestly, I don't even know if he deserves to be called that. I don't even know if he deserves to be called that because he was so unqualified to be hired as a head coach in the first place. It really shouldn't be that surprising that he was so incompetent. I mean, he was totally incompetent. And I think he really, if we could see the problem, it was so obvious what the problem was. His house was so poorly designed with all of those stupid paintings that they were so bad. It's so unsurprising that if he couldn't even decorate his house, why should we expect him to have been a head coach in the NFL? He didn't know anything about being a head coach. So it wasn't so good. So now he can go back and fix the crappy design and the ridiculous paintings that he has in his oversized mansion that the Cardinals are going to be paying for the next 5 years of his fucking contract for $50 million. So I'm really glad that the Cardinals owner has $50 million lying around to pay him for the next 4 years.
More than the Raiders owner.
Well, the Raiders owner
crying.
The Raiders owner is broke, apparently.
No, man.
Apparently. That's why they can't fire Josh McDaniels, because they can't afford it.
Even with the joking about Cliff Kingsbury, this man in college made Patrick Mahomes look like not the unanimous 101 pick in his draft class.
That's what I'm saying.
Mitch Trubisky went over him.
He coached Mahomes so well that he got drafted behind Mitch Trubisky. It's just
Oh my god!
I feel like he's been riding that high since then. It's like,
let's review. I mean, we can review Cliff Kingsbury's record. He was a failure as an NFL quarterback. Total failure. Total failure. He was terrible as an NFL quarterback. Absolutely terrible. Terrible. Then he comes into, coaches at Houston. He managed to coach Case Keenum. He did something. That was something good. And then he eventually coached Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M. How did that work out? It worked out well in college, but, he was partially responsible for Johnny Manziel's development as an athlete, and that didn't go so well. And now he is hired at Texas Tech for 6 years. He's terrible the entire time he's there and is essentially fired after 2018. He's looking for an offensive coordinator job. And then, the Cardinals are like, how about you become our head coach? A failure, 6 years of failure, somehow becomes an NFL head coach. So I don't understand why he was a head coach. And then it gets better. After a losing record in the NFL, the Cardinals think, why don't we extend him through 2027? Because he was so good for the last 3 years. We should give him more money. Because
do coaches have agents?
Yeah.
He
can't be coaching as a lame duck. We need to give Cliff Kingsbury more money because he deserves it, right? Terrible. It's really no good.
About the Kupp Matt Exodus thing. Would you guys rather have Adams or Kupp right now?
Kupp.
Or Diggs and Kupp?
I'll take Diggs over Kupp.
I'll take Diggs too, yeah.
Because Diggs, we know he has Josh Allen. Josh Allen is going to...
Yeah, and he's younger than Kupp anyway.
True. He's I think it's 5 months younger.
Oh.
But they both change age in the offseason, don't they?
Nope. Diggs is November 93.
Oh, November.
Kupp is June 15th, 93.
Okay. Basically same.
Adams is November 92.
But you'd all agree that Kupp has a higher ceiling, right?
Than Diggs?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure about that anymore. Oh, no, not anymore. No. I mean, Diggs has Josh Allen. I wouldn't say that.
That means Kupp has to be out of the top 12, right?
Oh, he is. Yeah, but so is Diggs. Neither is in my top 12.
Yeah, I haven't had Diggs in there since last year.
I have Diggs at 15 and in Dynasty and Kupp at 18. So and that's even without rookies. So neither of them are anywhere near my top 12.
Yeah.
Really?
So as far as value goes, I think his value is like low enough to. I mean, as long as they agree with Tyler, I think it's low enough to be able to buy. Like this guy, if you go to Trogdor, he sold Kupp for Montgomery 208 and a 24 fourth. Like I'd buy for that.
I would
all
take
day.
that. Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Like I'd buy Kupp for that all day.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's realistic, I feel like that's realistic.
Yeah, there's a reason why Cooper Kupp did not make my show sheet for Dynasty sells, because I really don't think he's much of a sell.
Yeah.
It's too late. You had your chance.
I think
during the season when he was doing well, you had your chance.
Yeah, when everybody agrees he's a sell, he's not a sell.
That's not true. I mean, there are players who are sell lows.
Yeah, but I'm saying when everyone agrees.
No, I feel like everyone. Well, I'll give you an example. I feel like everyone has been saying Derrick Henry is a sell, and he still made my list.
Yeah, but all of us know. No, he's still a buy.
Oh, not for me. No, he's a sell. Derrick Henry has looked like he's in decline, especially the last few weeks. I mean, Derrick Henry looked putrid on the 30 carries he had in the last game. And I think this is it. I think it's time that Derrick Henry
We've said that 4 years running.
Yes, but this year wasn't as good. He wasn't as good. He got the work, but he was not nearly as effective.
Yeah.
Would you take Montgomery been the same or Henry? Since that injury? I mean, that injury happened, and this year he was, even last year, he wasn't as good as he was in 2020. He got the volume, but he
was the RB1.
No, he wasn't as efficient. He wasn't as good. He got the volume. He got last year he was so good because he had 27.4 carries a game. He wasn't as good on that volume as he was on the pass. He was elite in 2020 and 2020.
He was getting passing opportunities too.
No. He not last year. I mean,
yeah, he was.
last year in 2021, he had 18 receptions in 8 games. You want to call that passing opportunities? Sure.
Yeah, a lot more than normal.
That's a lot more than anything.
Oh, that's sure. a lot more than normal.
That's nothing. I mean, sure. It's the fact that 2.3 receptions a game is a lot more. That's
2.5 points. Actually, that's
I get it,
almost
but
4
like
points a game.
That's not good enough. Like
that's 4
if
points.
If we're gonna average 4.3 and 4 yards a carry, we're gonna come down this year to 96.1 yards a game. It's just this is it. This is time. Like this was the last workhorse effective year because the wheels are coming off. It's
so
not like
Montgomery or Henry.
Oh, Montgomery is totally like on a new team. Who knows where he's going to go? I'd rather have. I don't want. Speaking of someone who might be on this list, I mean Montgomery would be on my list too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want him at all. So I would rather have Derrick Henry because I don't know if Montgomery's even going to be anything. Like, I mean, who knows?
What about Tyler?
I mean,
Algier?
You have to look at it the other way.
Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier is on my list of sales. So another player I don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't dislike him, but like he's overvalued.
James Cook.
Another one I don't. There's a lot of players. I don't really.
I'm just naming these players.
Generally, the answer is that I don't want these guys. Any of them.
I'm with you. Yeah.
I want either the top of the top,
mm-hmm.
or you still named all guys that are too good. I want like lower than those guys. Tyler Algier 3 weeks ago would have been a player I wanted. Now it's too late.
But out of the 3 guys that you say you don't want, including Derrick Henry,
Derrick Henry
is
higher value than those two.
More?
Well, yeah, he's higher value than those two.
I don't think so.
Oh, he is. I mean, I can tell you that he is. I mean, the last.
You don't think you could sell Derrick Henry for James Cook?
No, definitely.
I think you could.
Oh, I'd keep Henry.
No, you can't.
You keep Henry over James Cook?
Oh, yes. So would I. Yeah, James Cook. I don't have any faith in being much of anything. I mean, to me, James Cook. I feel a little bit bad for James Cook. I feel like James Cook might have had a nice career if he'd gone to a different team, but he went to a terrible team for his skill set, a no dump off team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he needs to be in the receiving game, and he's not going to get any of that there. He has to get everything to succeed.
Here's a good one. Zeke.
Oh, I don't want Zeke. Zeke is washed. Zeke looked this week. Zeke looked like crap.
Zeke is
another one. Zeke is the worst version of Henry. He's volumes there, looks totally washed, and is riding on touchdowns that may or may not come at a later point. So
I think you could buy Henry for some of these people.
I'm not saying Henry's totally washed, but he's not what he was. If you look at his body of work this year, it is not 2019 or 2020 Derrick Henry. It's just not. The volume's there, so it's tricking you. It's thinking that the volume's there because they had no choice. They had no one else. They had no offense. They had to give him the volume, but the talent isn't there. It's not what it was. There's a difference between being the whatever you want to call it, the best runner in the league, and whatever he is now.
No AJ
which is
Brown,
probably somewhere between 8 and 10.
Defense is focused on him a little more. I think had a lot to do with it.
You think it's going to get better after 349 more carries this year?
Unless he gets traded, which could very well happen.
Getting traded.
Yeah, they're not trading him.
Why would you trade him?
Because
what is someone going to give for a running back, a 29-year-old running back at his price? Like that's not going to happen.
Full rebuild.
But that's not going to happen. You have to have someone willing to do that. Someone's going to be willing to give up a pick for the honor of paying him $16.3 million next year. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody is going to do that.
I could see the Bears doing that.
No.
Bears are not that incompetent.
Bears are not.
They're pretty incompetent.
The Bears have so much money.
Also, to be honest, the Bears don't even have the second round pick they would trade because they already traded it for Chase Claypool.
The Bears have
they were so incompetent
next year.
Which is basically
the Bears have the most ridiculous amount of cap space.
That's embarrassing, but that's a whole other story.
I can't wait to see the Bears.
I do want to congratulate Dustin for this. I did a Patreon redraft league, and Dustin won. So congratulations.
You were in it?
No, I would never be in it. I want to give my patrons a chance of winning.
I had to know. That's why I wanted to know.
Wow.
No, I would never be in it.
It would have been more fun if you.
No. It would not be more fun. It would not be more fun.
That'd be very fun, actually.
No, it wouldn't. Don't give them any ideas. Don't give them any ideas.
That'd be very fun, actually.
We'll see. We'll have to see. Maybe when I have more time, when I'm retired. It's not gone, but it's not going to be called that anymore. And we're definitely going to be getting away from that show format also. Another thing I probably didn't tell them. The show format is going to be a little different. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I can promise you there are going to be some mock startup drafts. Oh, now you're making me want to have the show on forever. We'll have to see. I don't know if I'm going to be alive next week. I mean, we'll have to see. Is Eckler a sell? I mean, yes. But
yeah, definitely.
Yes, but Eckler's like Kupp. To a degree. And that it's
Eckler's had a fantastic year, though.
Yeah, and I think but it's not that. I think it's way too late. Like the value. Yes. What are you
last
even
year
get?
Was the year? Last year was a better year.
I agree. Now, what are you even going to get?
Yeah, but he was great this year.
Yeah, but he's in this point in Dynasty, it's so hard. I mean,
no, I know. It wasn't the year. If you held, you made the right call.
Depends on what you sold for. If you sold for some of the deals I saw, which were like Garrett Wilson plus, then you didn't make the right decision.
Garrett Wilson?
I mean, in Dynasty, who would you rather have?
No, yeah, I mean, it could have happened, but
yeah.
I kind of.
It has happened. I told people to do it. That's how
I mean, if he helped you win a chip,
but we're talking about.
I agree with Spence too.
What?
Those last forever. If you held Eckler and he
won you a championship.
Yeah, there's only one winner.
Not even if he won you a championship. If he brought you to the playoffs.
There's only one winner. So it's hard. Right now, we're going to say every bad value deal is good just because it gives you a chance of winning.
Was he?
We're going to disappoint a lot of people.
Hold on.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you held and you did win, like, okay, like I understand, but
some leagues you couldn't get the high end return.
Yeah, I think he was number one in PPR.
Yeah, no, he had a great year. Eckler didn't look. Eckler hasn't shown the same drop off that Henry has. I'm less concerned about Eckler or Kamara, who looks.
Oh, good lord! Yeah, Kamara.
Putrid. Terrible. Really not good.
Someone's coming back. Yeah.
Really not good. For Kamara. But Eckler to me didn't really show any drop off. So I'm fine with him.
There's a question further down too. It says,
but when it comes to selling Eckler, I mean, the answer to that is yes. If you can get the return that his ADP says you can get, then yes, he's a sell. I have not found that that's realistic or that that's happening. So if you can't get that return, then he's not a sell.
Would you sell him for one of the older wide receivers that we talked about?
Which one?
Adams, Diggs, or Kupp?
Diggs or Kupp? Yeah, Adams, no.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Adams concerns me.
How much different is Adams and Kupp?
Very.
Kind of similar.
No, they're not similar because, well, first of all, Adams is a little bit older, but also the quarterback situation in the Raiders
kind of the same.
No, it's not the same because we have no idea. We know that when Stafford was in, Kupp was great. This year, not 2 years ago. This year. We have no idea who the quarterback of the Raiders is going to be.
We don't know who the quarterback for the Rams is either.
No, it's going to be Stafford. He's coming back. He's coming back. He was very unequivocal. Yeah, he went on his podcast. Unequivocal. He was like, "I'm not considering retirement. I'm coming back. Put it all to rest. Period."
He just said he's
coming unequivocal. Back. There was no. Well, I might come back. I might do this. Okay. There was no equivocation. He's like, "I'm coming back. Period. Put the speculation to rest." It was not any of the Aaron Rodgers nonsense. So I'm going to take him at his word. Derek Carr is not going to be there. So that's why, Adams is lower. If it were not the case, they would be similar. Kupp would still be a little bit higher, but not the difference that I have. The reason the difference is so big is because the Raiders could have a really bad quarterback, potentially. So there's more risk.
Yeah.
Brady coming back next year? It's a good question.
Depends how this offseason goes, I think.
It's possible.
Well, I mean, there's also just because he's coming back doesn't mean he has to come back to the Bucs. He's a free agent.
No, I know. Yeah. I'm saying if he wins a ship, I think he retires. If he doesn't win a ship, there's a chance
he's not winning anything. He's not winning anything.
I think it's unlikely. I think it's unlikely he comes back to the Bucs.
I agree with that.
I think if he comes back, he's going somewhere else.
And where would that be?
I have no idea. That's the problem.
Raiders. Then I would be back in on Devontae Adams.
Seahawks.
Seahawks. I doubt it.
I think the Seahawks are rolling with Geno in 2023.
I also just don't think that Pete Carroll is the kind of coach that Tom Brady wants to play with.
Yeah, I could see that. Oh man, where else?
Not that Josh McDaniels is really.
Yeah, I don't know where else. I mean, the Jets. No.
The Jets. I mean, the Jets are the other one.
Jets.
No chance.
Why is there no chance? I feel like
he doesn't like anybody there.
I think it's unlikely.
Who does he like there? None of those players fit him.
Why not? Why don't they fit him?
A young wide receiver that he has no interaction
Wilson's
with.
pretty good. I mean, you could sign.
It might be good, but Tom Brady.
You could add someone else. You could add someone else. I mean, what if the Jets signed Tom Brady and traded for Devontae Adams? Then it suddenly wouldn't look so crazy. You see what I'm saying? Like the offseason is long. You have the ability to add players. If you sign Tom Brady, it might be easier to add someone. They could do something like that.
I don't think Brady would want to do that though. To risk it, he'd have to know.
I mean, the Jets have a good team. I mean, if you're 46-year-old Brady, I mean, the Jets have a better roster than the Bucs by far. Only problem with the Jets
is correct.
The Jets' defense is one of the best in the league.
I mean, also
you could argue Sauce Gardner played like the best corner in the league this year.
Sauce Gardner was great. Yeah,
you could argue he's the best corner in the league this year.
And also, if they had Breece Hall, they might have made the playoffs. Yeah, their offense really kind of started to nosedive once Breece Hall went out.
If they didn't have Zach Wilson, they might have made the playoffs.
I agree with that.
They had Derek
Carr the whole year. This would have been a playoff team.
And who's the guy who was later for Zach Wilson?
No, if they had Derek Carr the whole year, this would have been a playoff team.
Who was the guy that came in for Zach Wilson and actually ran the ball?
Streveler.
Yes. Streveler.
Oh I think Tom Brady is going to be one of the first. I mean, not the first, but like we're going to have to see. I mean, I think we're going to find out pretty early if he's coming back to the Bucs.
I don't think he will. I don't think it's.
I don't think he will.
Or he's going to be like, I'm leaving, and then come back like he did last year.
No, I mean, I just think we'll find out if he's coming back to the Bucs, and then we'll see if he's coming back at all.
Do you think there's a chance San Francisco looks at Brady?
No, I don't.
I don't think so. I've heard a couple of people try to say that.
No, I think that San Francisco has their own issues to deal with. I think they
have a lot of issues.
Yeah, they have. I think it's time to. That's another thing to talk about, actually. I think Brock Purdy is their starter. I think that's it. I think this is what it's going to be. Because
next year or just
season? Next year, because I think that he has come in and he has been excellent. I mean, not good.
Great yesterday.
What was so bad about it?
I mean,
yesterday we looked pretty good. I mean, he didn't throw any. He's taking care of the football. 13 touchdowns and 4 picks.
Right. He almost
taking care of the football. He almost.
He had 75% completion.
But this is a nobody. This is a rookie who just came in, who's third string. He didn't have any practice. No practice. And he's essentially been just as good, if not better, than Jimmy Garoppolo was, who's a seasoned veteran on the same team.
He started at least 2 touchdowns in every week he started.
They will
this
play.
This is
Jimmy
a starting
G
quarterback.
Healthy.
Yeah.
This year.
I don't think he's going to be healthy enough. And at this point, if this continues, I feel like that's like saying that Drew Bledsoe would have come back in for Tom Brady. You could say it, and now at some point that changes and it's not true anymore. And I think we're getting to the point of that's not true anymore. I think that's not true anymore.
It was super.
Sorry, go ahead. I've been on like the boat that unless he legitimately brings them through like a strong playoff showing, like they're gonna go back to Lance, and
they can't go back to Lance. I mean, he looked terrible.
Well, I think it's just changing by the game though, just how he looks. And yes, like obviously they've already like done the same thing where Lance comes in, Jimmy G comes in, does fine, and they go back to Lance, and like we're looking at that and saying, oh, they could just go right back to him. But I do think Brock Purdy's looked better than like everyone expected, basically. And at this point, with how he's playing and what he might do in the playoffs with that team, it's just I think it's hard to say like he's not going to at least like be a strong contender to be going.
What happens spot in the playoffs? We'll have to see what he does in the playoffs. But
yeah,
Purdy, I mean, I think if he takes them to the Super Bowl, I think he's their week 1 starter.
If he wins the Super Bowl, I think it's
not win, not even win though, not win. Takes them there, even like I think he's their week 1 starter. But if he goes, I'd have to. If he loses in the NFC Championship, like I think they're still gonna go okay, probably going back to Lance. Like that's how I've kind of been. But every time
what exactly has like Lance been doing? Done or shown other
than nothing at all. But they did it last year.
He looked terrible in training camp.
He's
terrible
a high pick
in the games he played. Now there's a new problem, by the way, a new problem. There was a new injury, a new problem, a new complication in the surgery. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take a long time now for him to be healthy. That doesn't sound good. I don't want to hear about a long time. A long time. No. I mean, it's already been many years. And then in 2020, he didn't play much because of the COVID shortened season. So now what is it going to be? 4 years since he had significant game action? I mean, we can't have that. You can't go back to that.
I completely agree. It's just the fact that last year, it like the same. It's like we could have just said, like, why didn't Jimmy G came in? He played well. Like, why?
The real thing is they just should have never traded for him in Trey Lance in the first place. Stuck with 100%. Jimmy G and then found another quarterback later. That's really what they should have done. And just use the picks on other things.
Mac Jones like they wanted
or
to.
Not. Or just use the picks on other things. Imagine the team is so good as it is. Imagine if they hadn't picked Trey Lance at number 3 and they hadn't traded away the first round pick this year. How good last year? How good could they be? Like, what would they have? I mean, they could have had, not that they need it, but they could have had a couple other first round pieces. Somehow the roster could have been better than it is now.
Yeah, but they kind of tried that already.
I mean, they're one of the best teams in the NFL.
But they didn't have this roster. They didn't have this roster in 2021. It wasn't this good.
No.
This roster is ridiculous. Christian McCaffrey, for everyone who says running backs don't matter, has mattered.
He matters.
He's
kind of more than just a running back, though.
Yeah, he's like
Debo
Samuel actually played running back
in a running back. It's just
in the grand
Debo
scheme
plus
of running
a pure
back,
rusher in one player.
He's more of a wide receiver.
Yes, he's Debo Samuel. If Debo Samuel actually played running back, that's what he is.
Yeah, and it's exactly what he's basically wanted and had to like delegate into 2 or 3 different players for 2 or 3 seasons at this point. And he finally, it feels like he has someone that can do all of the things he wants to do. It is kind of odd.
Because it really doesn't fit to have Christian McCaffrey and Debo Samuel in the same offense. But since Debo Samuel's hurt all the time, it's not so bad. But Debo Samuel really has no role. Like they would never have given Debo Samuel this contract extension if they knew that they had Christian McCaffrey on the team.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting.
They don't fit on
like next year, what it shakes out to be with this offense. Like Debo's
yeah, I mean, Brandon Ayuk, who's also been effective, is going into.
Brandon Ayuk, I don't know if you guys realize he's he's wide receiver 15 on the year this year now.
Yeah, that's another thing is they're going to have to make a decision on him, but they still have a 5th-year option on him, so they have a while before they have to extend him.
They do, yeah. They have a decision. They have
2 more years, year, and I assume they'll pick up the 5th-year option. He's been good.
And they still have Kittle in this offense, and Brock Purdy is good, but they're not going to give him 30 pass attempts a game.
This is your dream. Your dream is to have a solid quarterback on a cheap contract for years. This is your dream. Yeah. This is what every NFL team always dreams about.
Yes.
It's like Russell Wilson at the start of his career.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be so interesting to see how this offense plays out next year with Debo back healthy.
It's going to be so interesting. I will say, though, I've been dropping Trey Lance in my Dynasty rankings because the risk every week.
Yeah, I think he is. Because Brock Purdy Like if Brock Purdy makes a decent playoff run, maybe not even a Super Bowl, like an NFC Championship game. Like if he gets to there, like his dynasty value is going. His
dynasty value is already going up.
No, Trey Lance's I'm talking about.
Oh, it's already going down.
It's going to continue to go down. Every playoff win that Brock Purdy gets is going to continue to go down. It's going to continue to plummet. Yeah, I think Trey Lance is.
I mean, there's just no. This is the NFL. There's no rule that says Trey Lance must receive a starting opportunity at some point. It's just not how it works. This is not how the NFL works.
I mean, it will.
If someone else is better, you don't go back to the person who's not as good because they were picked earlier. It just doesn't work that way.
I agree, but I do think he's not going to like never get a shot to start somewhere else again, though.
No, he'll get
just
given that's a separate. Yeah, but you see how that works out. How often does that work out well?
No, yeah, it's just it's going to happen though. We have teams talking about trading and bringing in Jordan Love. Like
I didn't say it wasn't going to give
Trey Lance a shot,
but
you know
we got to think about Trey Lance a little differently. Trey Lance is not the high-end dynasty asset of old. Trey Lance is a risky dynasty asset who has no guarantees. He has upside, but doesn't have any guarantees of anything. You have to think about him that way.
Fields and Lance kind of swapped. When did they swap for you, Tyler? Like November?
The second Lance got hurt, it was over at that point. I mean, once Lance got hurt and Jimmy Garoppolo looked good, we already had a problem. It was already a problem at that point. That was already.
We already knew that, though.
No, it was a problem because Jimmy Garoppolo started winning, and then it started looking good.
He always wins. That's
yeah, but Trey Lance looked like crap.
Jimmy G.
It would have been nice if Trey Lance had shown you anything good, but he never has.
Well,
he never has. No, nothing. I mean, nothing good. He has one good throw in his career. That one good throw down the sideline to Brandon Ayuk in 2021. That's the one good throw in his career. That's it.
He runs good enough.
But we haven't seen that.
Yeah.
We didn't see that. He hasn't done anything good in the NFL. Yeah. So,
what about Trevor Lawrence? Where do you guys have
Lawrence has looked excellent. I mean,
is he top 5 now?
I could see the case for it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can make the argument. I think he's like 7, 8. Like I think that's a fair spot for him. I mean, I took him number 10. I took him number 10 overall in a dynasty startup that me and Reiner, and I loved it. I was very happy to see him at 10.
Wait, I'm confused. Who is ahead of him? So Allen and Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yep. Hurts
first.
Okay, Hurts. Okay,
Hurts. I would put Burrow.
Herbert.
It's Burrow for me. Is still
Burrow, Herbert.
I still have Herbert ahead of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
so I mean, I feel like for most people he'll be between that 6 and 10. Like
that's 5.
No, for me the interesting thing is that in a I might almost look at it a little differently in a 1 QB versus a super flex. In a 1 QB, I'd still rather take Lamar or Fields because they give you more upside. In a 1 QB, I don't care. The quarterback doesn't work out. You just find another one. Who cares? You want the most upside. You know, the rushing quarterbacks have more upside, especially Fields. In a super flex, though, I care more about longevity because quarterbacks, you're taking such a high pick on this player. I don't want to whiff. So I'd rather take Lawrence over those two because Lawrence is not whiffing. Lawrence is going to give you got 10 more years.
What keeps Herbert and Burrow above him? Like, what would change that?
Well, Burrow has just been really good for 3 years.
Burrow's the top
and has a lot of weapons.
Yeah, well, they've both been really good for 3 years.
Yeah. So, Herbert
Burrow's
this year has not been as great.
And Herbert,
but yeah, I mean, they just have more track record. Lawrence was. I mean, they were also both very. I mean, Burrow was a number 1 overall pick. Herbert was a early first round pick.
He was like 5, I think.
6,
5th overall. Or 6, yeah.
But
5 was.
Yeah, I mean, track record's there for both of them, and they both have had good and so far success in the NFL. So yeah, they're just still above for that reason. And neither of them are old or anything.
I mean, Lawrence
both
has
have better weapons.
Well, Lawrence's rookie year was terrible. So that's really even this year.
It wasn't
even
terrible.
This year, it was really bad.
It was mediocre.
It was bad.
No,
it was bad.
No.
Compare his rookie year to Herbert and Burrow rookie years. We're looking at a world division. You're looking at good and terrible.
Yes.
I mean, it's completely terrible. He had more interceptions.
Yeah, we were comparing Trevor Lawrence to Jamarcus Russell. Like that's how bad.
Trevor Lawrence's rookie year was like horrible.
It was bad.
Statistically, it's not a ridiculous thing to say. Of course, that's not true.
Horrifically bad.
His rookie year was horrific. It was bad. Now, I still believed in him, and I still believed in the talent. But even this year, it took a while. Like the first 4 or 5 games were not excellent. It's really only been, we have like, to me, it's a good sample size. I think we have like 10 to 12 games of him executing at a high level for fantasy and for real life.
Yep.
That's great. And it's enough for me to have him as a first round startup pick in Superflex. So that obviously I really like it.
He was already there though. He's already been there.
No, I mean he wasn't there this offseason.
News.
Not this offseason.
No,
in this offseason, he was in the 20s or 30s. He was not there.
Year.
Oh, that's different. His rookie year, he was there, but then once people saw him play, they moved him down.
Yeah, but that's how it's always easier to do that. If someone's already been up there at the top, it's easier.
Oh, well, then it's much easier to move them back. Yeah, we all know that. Absolutely. That's why it was so easy to move him back. Because you're not surprised. But it's just that there's the other quarterbacks are also good. I mean, Joe Burrow has had a great year.
Yeah, Joe Burrow has had a fantastic year. I mean, he's quarterback 4 on the year.
Also, Trevor Lawrence doesn't have Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
That does help.
Or T. Higgins.
That doesn't move the needle for me.
I don't know if you guys saw, but DeMar Hamlin's on his way back to the hospital.
What's that?
Oh, that's good.
I did hear about that.
Hamlin's where?
He's on his way out of the hospital.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's awesome.
That's great, man. That's great.
Yeah. I am kind of glad that worked out as well as it could have.
Yeah, it really like the recovery process couldn't have been much better than this.
No, it really couldn't have.
It's
this
been
was
fantastic.
Like the best case scenario, pretty much.
Yes.
I mean, this hadn't happened when we were on here last week. And now we're on here this week, and we're already talking about him coming out of the hospital. So you really couldn't have asked for better.
Yep. Yeah,
better outcome. I do think, we'll have to see. Like, obviously, he's not going to come back and play football this year. But I think, there have been other players who've had similar things happen at times in the past, and they've come back and played their sports. So I don't see that he's a young man. I mean, I think there's a good chance he could come back and have, I think at this point we're talking about him, the potential of him coming back and having an NFL career.
I was reading about there's like some hockey player that suffered exactly the same.
Yeah. Well, he came back and played 4 days later, so I don't know if we're gonna expect that.
No, nothing like that.
Crazy.
I mean, the only other cardiac arrest I've ever heard of in sports is Christian Eriksen in soccer, and he's playing now. Yeah, he's playing back in professional competition and stuff. So
I remember that one. I remember that.
Yeah, no,
I remember that happening.
Was
that during World? That was during World Cup, wasn't it?
No, it was during the Euros.
Oh, okay. So 2021 that happened.
And so no, that was definitely like the closest thing the only thing that I could compare what we saw obviously last week. So obviously the what happened after and the recovery has been good for these guys. The only incidents that are remotely similar. So just hoping for the best for DeMar as well, and hopefully he if he chooses to and wants to can come back and keep playing down the road.
What do you guys think about, speaking of injuries, what do you guys think about Tua and where he's at?
I
mean, it's
health-wise.
So I'm getting a little worried.
He's going to play this week, so I'm not that worried.
Yeah, he's probably going to play this week. But yeah,
should he play this week, though?
He gets another concussion this week. Like, what's that mean for his career?
Yeah, 3 concussions in one season is pretty.
We said this about Brandon Cooks. Like,
no,
and then all of a sudden he was fine.
Brandon Cooks was years over years.
It wasn't.
Repetitively.
No, it wasn't. What about 2019? There was 2019. He had multiple concussions, 5th and 6th concussions that year, and then all of a sudden,
yeah, but then he didn't play like almost all of 2019, didn't he?
No, he actually played 14 games that year. So no, people are going to doom way too quickly. Like this is not career ending. It looks bad. It looks bad. I get it. It looks bad.
Pay attention to though.
Yes. I mean, I would say you're injury prone until you're not. Like there are a lot of players. We used to talk about Keenan Allen.
No, yeah, he only missed one. In 4 years.
Brandon Cooks did not actually miss a lot of time despite having all these concussions. And then,
but they were across years.
Well, no, there was that year of which there were the 5th and 6th in 2019 that he had the 5th and the 6th concussion. There were multiple concussions.
I'm looking at his history right now. In 2014, Or in 2015, he had a concussion. 2018 concussion. 2019 concussion.
No, there were two concussions. In 2019, there was a week 5 concussion, and then there was another one later in the season. There was another concussion. There were 2 concussions in 2019. I remember it because then he had to go see a specialist. After the second concussion, he missed time. He had to go see a specialist after that. And then he, but then we never heard about it again. For 3 years, we've never heard about it.
I mean, I'm looking at the stuff here.
I understand, but he was taken out of the game, and then it happened again, and then everyone was scared, and then he went to see a specialist, and then now we've had 3 years of nothing. Not hearing about any concussions, no problem.
Spence, I am seeing week 5 he had one, and he came back next week, and then week 8 he had one and missed.
That's what the scary thing.
That one.
Yeah, and then it was 2 in a very short period of time after a history of concussions, but now 3 years. And
where are you seeing that?
I remember it. I remember it. I was doing content, so I remember writing about it. It's also on Wikipedia. He was taken out and then taken out twice, but it did happen. And then he went to see a specialist, and then they eventually were able to clear him. He was traded to the Texans, and he's played the last 3 years. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely still like scary.
It's scary,
just because, the nature of them too just felt worse. And then, some of the, like most other just concussions, regular routine ones we see all the time, I feel like his have been highlighted more, and just because they just,
it's because it's a quarterback.
Worse,
it's because one of them happened on national TV.
And he was evaluated for a concussion. But he missed. Said he had it.
Oh, he definitely did. It just was a different time. They didn't have the rules that they have now. Oh, he absolutely had a concussion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I remember it. Doesn't take a genius to figure out he had a concussion. He was knocked out.
Still, at this point, that's only 2.
No. What about all the other ones? There were so many. You go back. I mean, there's so many in his career.
We're talking about weeks here. Weeks apart.
But how many has Tua had this year?
This is his 3rd one.
It's 3.
I'm not that concerned.
I'm not super concerned either. I think it's something you have to actually definitely look at it, you're paying attention. But I mean, I still see like a low end dynasty quarterback one. Like
the visuals of it too are different.
Visuals don't mean anything. With a concussion, you cannot tell by a visual how bad it is. It means nothing. It's easy to tell whether someone had one or not, but you can't. You can't tell by
definitely
a visual.
Play through and stuff, and we've seen the example. Like obviously, we just talked about Brandon Cooks and stuff, and if Tua can, he plays for however long they're in the playoffs and he's fine, doesn't suffer another concussion. Obviously, I don't think there's that much to worry.
Are we sure Tua's playing?
He goes out there and he just
I think so.
gets a 4th concussion in
10 weeks.
It's just scary to think about if he actually gets a 4th concussion in one season, like let alone 12 weeks or whatever it's been since the first one. It just I think at that point we're looking at unprecedented amount and frequency of concussions. I mean, I can't recall anyone having 4 in the same season, like all actually how we've seen them. But hopefully that doesn't happen. We obviously don't want that to happen, and we're hoping he continues playing and can keep playing. But I do definitely understand kind of the worry, because
if he doesn't play at all this year, then I feel a lot better.
He's coming back.
If he doesn't play at all anymore,
he's gonna play this week.
Yes.
I don't know. Spread.
I'm very confident
he will. He'll play.
I'm very confident he's gonna play this week.
Did you guys see Rasul Douglas's tweet about about what he did with the ball and the kick?
No, what about that? I didn't see anything about that.
He was trying to remember during the line. It was like a weird play. Rasul Douglas went up to the line of scrimmage, moved the ball out of the way so the Lions couldn't kick it.
Yeah,
you don't remember that play?
I don't remember that.
The Packers.
Okay, you gotta look it up. But basically, the Packers had called a timeout right before the Lions kicked it off, so kind of icing the kicker, and he didn't want Lions kicker to get a free kick, so Russell Douglas just walked up to the line of scrimmage and just straight up like smacked the ball down so they couldn't snap it. And that, then
sounds like the Packers player who decided to take out his anger on the medical staff.
Yeah, exactly. And then after though, he turned around and he actually hit somebody in the face because like someone pushed him and then he went around and hit somebody in the face.
That sounds like good behavior.
So that he had so it was a personal foul. And the Lions got 15 more yards.
I think Quay Walker is going to be seeing a large hit to his wallet.
Quay Walker. Oh man, yeah.
He could be. I looked at the video. I do think it's weird. They might suspend him, but the suspension
95 too also made. I can't remember his name, but 95 also made a hit on one of those staff members as well. Wyatt, right? Yeah, that's his name.
I don't. They might suspend him. I mean, it was on national TV. But it would be one game.
I think the issue is there's just so much going on in those moments. Like, it's hard to blame anyone for how.
No, it's very easy. You just don't. No, it's
you
very
don't
easy
know what's going on.
Oh,
you don't know what's going on.
I get that if you push literally any player wearing your jersey or the other team's jersey.
I get it, yeah, with a player, but we can't be.
You can't touch a coach. You can't touch a staff member. You can't touch
the coaches or the referees. We can't push the referees. Like there's just a zero tolerance.
And even other players, guys. The play is dead.
That's different. There are other players. There are things that they're a part of the opposing team. I understand pushing other players. It's a part of the game where you push players, but you don't push the coaches or the referees or the training staff. We can't have that.
Insane.
That's not going to work. There has to be a zero tolerance policy for pushing coaches. And this trainer didn't do anything. He was just trying to treat the player, and Quay Walker just pushed him for no reason. Like, he was just frustrated about something. I don't even know. And to give him credit, he did legit, like he had like a real apology. I was like very proud of him. He went on Twitter and gave like a real, not like, well, whatever, like trying to deflect. Like he actually gave like a real apology. I was kind of proud of him for that.
I mean, he should, considering this wasn't even his first time he got ejected.
That's true. That's also the other thing. This was the second ejection. He's the first player to be ejected from multiple games since 1994.
For
in a season,
pushing someone
for any reason.
Yeah, I know, but on top of that, the player he pushed in both situations
was not
active players or even a player. It's just
it's not good.
It's not a good.
We can't have that. There's already enough problems in the NFL. We can't have pushing coaches, trainers, and referees. It's just not going to work.
I agree with that.
It's already
it's one thing. It's heat of the moment, and you push a guy on their team, or some guy comes off their bench. It's like that's why the first one was somewhat more understandable. It was a Bills practice squad guy on the sideline, stuff going on. But when it's a staff member and it's like clearly not non-jersey wearing person, I think that's just like, even if heat of the moment, you got to be able to realize kind of that part. And I think he obviously recognizes after the fact, I messed up and that wasn't cool. And so hopefully, he learns from it. He's still a rookie. So I have hope he's still just young and will learn from these types of mistakes. So we'll see. I mean, what'd you guys think about just in general, Seahawks making it, Lions keeping the Packers out? Like,
I'm salty. I'm not even a Lions fan. I'm salty for them. Did you guys watch that?
Oh yeah, no, I wish. Huh?
They gifted that game in the Seahawks. It was so bad. There you go to so many calls. I watched the end of it. The roughing the punter, that was weak. The taunting, Quandre Diggs got that interception. He was just pointing at Bobby Wagner and didn't get called for taunting or anything. Like, there was just so many calls. They handed that to the Seahawks, and
yeah, I mean,
see what they do against the Niners, but
I think it's just like a perfect cap to the whole Broncos Russ trade and just having the Seahawks make out with a king's ransom and they're still making the playoffs. It's just so funny to me. I think it's just it caps off just such a horrendous situation for the Broncos, and now they're trying to trade away other first round picks for Sean Payton maybe, and it's just just disaster.
How long do you think Russell Wilson will be on?
Russell.
That's the funny thing. When people are tweeting negative things about a Russ, you don't know which one it is.
Yeah,
neither of them.
Hasn't Westbrook been like 6th man of the year worthy or something this year?
He's been better because LeBron and AD have been out, so he's been getting high usage. But that's basketball. Let's get.
Yeah, no,
you got an MVP player like what 4 years ago MVP, and then he's on his 6th. He's a 6th man. Of course, he's going to be 6th man.
He was stat padding back then.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. Like, what? How could you not be?
But I mean, with Russ, it's just like with Russ Wilson, it's just like.
Thanks for the clarification.
They can't.
How long will he
like,
play? How long will he play if he continues to play at this level?
I mean, if he plays like, the whole he played this year, like he's got one more season or something. Like I can't. It's just.
I don't know if he's got a full season. I think they might bench him midway through if he keeps playing.
Next year, if he plays like this, same way.
It's just the money.
If he continues to play this way, he will be benched some point in the season.
It's really just.
Like,
I mean, by all means he should if he continues playing like that. He absolutely should. It's just not teams don't always do
that.
What's in the best interest of that because they got to factor in so many other financial and whatever political pieces into it and stuff basically. So it's just it makes it kind of just messier in that sense. But I mean. He was awful this year. I don't think there's any way to like sugarcoat it. And how much of that comes on to Hackett, we'll find out basically because we've at least seen we've seen Russell Wilson be great. We don't know if he's just past that, but I don't know. I mean, I think we'll look back and if next year he's also just not great, it's like when he rushed back from his little finger thing 2 years ago or last year, it's like he wasn't good after he came back from that and everyone kind of gave him a pass at the end of the year because he rushed too quickly back from that. It's like now if we're 2 years removed from that and he's been bad 2 years, I think we're going to look back and be like, that was just like when he just was bad because he was off to a good hot start like he was every season. He had, that 6 week stretch where he's really, really good and then he just trails off the rest of the year. But
Let's make our way back to the chat because we got a lot to go.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Gavin asked if there's any particular free agents that you're excited about to see on new teams. Obviously, the free agent class is loaded. You got Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, who's probably going to go back. You got David Montgomery, you got Miles Sanders, you got the pool of free agent or draft running backs. So, anyone that you're excited about seeing on your team, particularly?
Free agent running backs almost never work out, so I'm good unless they're cheap, unless they're super cheap.
Agreed on that.
Like Josh Jacobs goes anywhere but the Raiders, I'm out. His cost is going to be way too high.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but it's just like some of these teams definitely going to throw some money. Like I mentioned it earlier, but like Tony Pollard, I'd be shocked if some team doesn't throw like 9 to 12 mil at him, like or
what's it going to cost
along those lines. That's what I'm.
Saying. If he looks like the lead, not money. Like if he looks like the lead back, what's his dynasty value going to be like? It's going to be through the roof. It's going to be insane. Every game he's played when Zeke's out, even when Zeke's in, he looks great. Goes to a new team. He's getting paid a good amount of money, and he looks like the lead back. And he's probably not going to be doing what he did in Dallas because that running backs never do what they do across teams unless they get traded. Because if you get traded, generally it means you're worthy enough to be traded. If you hit free agency, it's just the NFL saying, in my opinion, that you're not good enough to be traded. You're not good enough to cross over teams and maintain this level of play. But you take a different kind of guy, like a David Montgomery, who's looked bad, goes to a team, maybe he looks like the backup. I could be invested into something like that because you probably get him for like a third or a fourth. Those kind of players are the guys that you can look towards. But Josh Jacobs, Pollard, if any of them look like the lead back, they get paid lead back money. There's just going to be too much hype, and I'm not going to be interested.
Well, yeah, especially in the case of Pollard, though, like he isn't a lead back, like, and he said it himself where
he's not.
Like,
I think he'll be somebody that's
Zeke,
crazy
like. But he and this wasn't even like I'm excited for his fantasy value if he goes somewhere else. I just think like with the way he's played this year and just how explosive he is, like on a per touch basis and stuff, like some team is going to give him some amount of money.
Some teams going to give him a lot of money.
There's other running backs that are making 7-8 mil annually, and it's like I think teams would much rather be paying that for a guy like Pollard, even if he's not there.
I think Pollard's going to make more than that, though. I think he's going to get double digits per year, at least 10. I think he's going to get.
I mean,
isn't Madison a free agent too?
Madison is. Montgomery's a free. I'm actually kind of interested in David Montgomery.
That's what I'm saying. If he goes somewhere and he looks cheap enough, then I'll be interested.
Yeah. I feel like Montgomery is going to go somewhere, and I don't think people are going to be super excited about it. I think I'm going to be someone who might want to scoop him up late in drafts.
It could be bad though too.
It could be a bad spot. Obviously,
he could go to the Falcons, and then he'll get hyped, and I'll not be interested.
Would he get hyped with Algier back there? I don't know.
I don't think he would get.
Algier is not good.
I know he's gonna get replaced just like every day through running back.
If Montgomery went to the Falcons, he would beat out Algier, but he wouldn't be anything more than he was with the Bears, which wasn't good. You know what I mean? I'm not looking for him to be anything more than he was with the Bears, but if he goes to the Falcons, everyone's going to expect the quality of what the Bears already have. So there's no point in investing in that. It's just, he's just aging and his value is going to go down. But if he goes somewhere where people don't expect his value or his production to equal what they think it will, then that's something that's interesting. Is Miles Sanders a free agent?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they release Miles Sanders and Montgomery goes to the Eagles, that would be something I'd be interested in because it looks bad.
I'm not like that as an Eagles fan.
Because it looks bad, but there's a good chance for it to be good.
Ew. Yeah, that'd be. I mean, Montgomery would be great in the Eagles' offense. I think Montgomery would produce a lot in the Eagles' offense. And Miles Sanders is gone, but I would not like it as an Eagles fan. I'd rather have Miles Sanders.
Yeah, why not?
Miles Sanders is a better back.
Because, and the issue is Montgomery will be cheaper.
If they're going to get rid of Miles Sanders, they better be drafting Bijan Robinson.
Bro.
That's what I want them to do.
That'd be so good.
Oh, that'd be so good.
The dream's still alive.
I can't really think of any other teams. Maybe the Chargers. He goes to be Eckler's backup.
Yeah, it depends on Eckler. Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, because Eckler isn't because the Chargers have kind of the last couple of years, it's been really difficult for them because they haven't really had they haven't really had a run game.
I thought you meant an RB2.
Well, I mean, a running back who can grind the clock down. Running back who can do Eckler's good, but he's not really someone in between the tackles that is a spectacular player. I think Montgomery paired with Eckler could be interesting because Sony Michel and Josh Kelly and Isaiah Spiller, they've tried those guys. It just hasn't really worked out.
Are we sure that the Bears are going to let Montgomery walk?
Yeah, that's the thing. If they also could resign him.
I do think the Bears and Montgomery are one of those situations where it's going to be a very simple negotiation. I think I've talked about this before.
Yeah, I think
the Bears are going to be we'll pay you X. That's it.
Yeah,
we're going to pay you X.
You said this.
You can take X and stay with us, or not, and then not stay with us, and that's it. We're willing to pay you this. This is what we think you're worth. If you don't want to take it, fine. We'll go elsewhere. If you do want to take it, we'll have you back. And that's it. I think that's what the negotiation is going to be.
Yeah,
I don't think they need him back. I don't think they desperately want him back. But they don't have that many draft picks, and they need to use picks on other things. I think that they could. I don't think the Bears are really a high candidate to fill running back in the draft. They have so many other problems. I think it's either that they go with Montgomery back or that they sign a worse version of Montgomery.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. But yeah, in terms of free agent running backs, I'm never that excited. Holding out. Yeah. I mean, Le'Veon Bell.
He got paid.
He did get more guaranteed money.
Yeah, but he also didn't get paid for 2018, so it didn't really work out.
Yeah. Not really.
All right. Let's see here. Got JT in a rebuild. Kept him. Moved Swift for Waddle. How did you move Swift for Waddle? Where are these leagues?
It's been week 4. It had to be week 3 or 4.
I don't think you could have done it. Really much after that.
Didn't DeAndre Swift have
he was going
crazy week 1? Did he not? Hold on.
Mm-hmm. Hey man,
he did have a good week 1.
They were RB1 and 2.
Had a really big week.
So if I had told you at the beginning of the year that Jamal Williams would score 17 rushing touchdowns, what would you have said?
He broke Barry Sanders' record.
Yeah. So
if
I told you that
DeAndre Swift was hurt all year.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
that's what
he
you
wasn't.
said.
He played in 14 games. DeAndre Swift played the most games this year of his career.
Yep.
Not good.
No.
DeAndre Swift is a big problem.
The Lions tried their hardest, and I
do what?
Respect that. To make playoffs.
Oh yeah, I thought you meant tried their hardest to get DeAndre Swift involved. That they didn't do.
No. Like I'm proud of them. They are a terrible looking
They were
team.
America's team.
People were expecting them to get like 2-3 wins, and they came out like this. I
gotta tell you, I did not think they were that bad. I did not. I didn't have them down for 2 or 3 wins.
I can't remember. We talked about this on a show before I left Twitter. We talked about the Texans and the Lions.
I had them at 7.
Who we thought would be the worst and stuff like that. And I thought
We
I can't remember if I said the Texans or the Lions were going to be good.
Oh no, I had the Bears and the Texans as my 2 worst. How more right I could have been. Those were my teams on my list.
Didn't really like. I can't believe the Texans messed this.
It wasn't that hard to predict that. I mean, they were the 2
so
worst
funny.
rosters in the league.
Yeah.
So it did.
In some cases, the Colts, they might be able to get a quarterback now.
I didn't think the Colts would be this bad. I thought they would be not good. I didn't agree with their win total, but I still had the Colts 7 wins. I didn't think they would be this bad.
Yeah.
But a lot of teams kind of. I mean, I didn't think Denver or the Rams would be this bad either, or Arizona.
Oh, we did know though, or I knew. I was like, one of these AFC West teams is just going to be bad.
Well,
in my heart,
Vegas
I knew.
and Denver were both bad.
Well, I thought I was like, dude, it could have been any of them, because then we had that Mahomes scare last year.
Yeah, I pretty much. I was never a big fan of Vegas, but I never thought Denver would be this bad. I didn't.
I thought Denver was winning that division.
Well, I never thought that.
I had Denver winning the division.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I thought that whole division was crazy, and I thought like.
Oh yeah,
it was actually the NFC. It was actually the NFC East. That was a really good division.
I had the Raiders as a clear last place, but the other teams I liked. I liked all 3 of the other teams. I had them all for at least 10 wins, I believe.
I didn't pick the Broncos to be bad, but I picked one of them to be like way worse than people expected, and
mine was.
It wasn't. I was assuming the Raiders also.
I was assuming the Raiders were clear. The Raiders were clear last place for me.
I really think though. I mean, were there that? This was kind of a season in the NFL. At the end of the day, like some of the best teams were the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles, who I think were the top pick to win the division for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. San Francisco, who had a good roster. Minnesota, I think was surprising that they were this
Minnesota
good.
Is the worst 12-4 team or whatever they are. Yeah, 13-4 team to ever.
Like the other teams that made the playoffs were Dallas, who I think was not that surprising. The Chargers, the Ravens. I mean, really, the only teams that made the playoffs that are like just stunning are the Giants and Seattle. I mean, Seattle was up there on the list of the worst.
Seattle is the
worst of the worst, and Seattle and the Giants were up there on my list of the worst.
I don't know. I feel like Dayball took a team that has maybe 3 guys that would start on most really good teams.
Seattle both in last place and winning 5 games.
Arizona was going to be this bad? Because I don't think Arizona.
I did not think Arizona was this bad.
Arizona was so bad this year. Like, it was a disaster.
I didn't think they would be great. But I had them in 3rd place in the division. I had the Rams first, then the 49ers.
Dude, what do we think about Jacksonville? Because Jacksonville got in the playoffs now. Like
Jacksonville, I would say they were super surprising, but it's not that surprising because the AFC South got to come out of that division. Yeah, exactly. Someone had to win it.
Yeah, somebody had to win it. I mean,
I did expect that
Josh Dobbs didn't look like they were really trying.
I did say that was a division that could have a 9-win champion, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Well, the NFC
South had an
Tennessee,
8-win, not Jacksonville.
Yeah, I was gonna say
the NFC South had an 8-win.
Yeah, NFC South is even worse.
Yeah, it was like the NFC East of last year.
Yeah.
Oh, the NFC East last year. Wait, the NFC East. It was Commanders won it as 7-9, right?
That was a couple years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah, when Philly tanked
16
games.
games.
That was 20. That was 20
playoffs last year because they won it.
That was 2020.
2020. That's where Commanders went in. Yeah. All right.
10-team Superflex. 101 plus 1 equals Chase. So what's the difference between Bijan Robinson and Chase?
In a 10-team superflex?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, just generally, though. What's the difference between Bijan Robinson and Chase? I think the difference is I think Judy is too much.
I think it, yeah.
I'd rather have Bijan and Judy.
Yep. I would
Chase.
It's the Ridley versus the box, but the box is
Ridley's probably not enough. It's somewhere in between there. The difference is probably somewhere in between there.
In a 10-team superflex, like if Bijan, like just say like a pretty good landing spot, is he a first rounder? Is he a top 10 pick in a superflex league? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they're both first rounders. Like what would it take you to move up a few spots in the first round of a startup league?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to take...
Like, think of that kind of value, because that's
probably
going to
take something I'm not willing to pay.
Yeah, I agree.
It's probably going to take something I'm not willing to pay. It's probably going to take more than Judy. So, but I'm probably not willing to pay it. So, I'd probably just stick with Bijan. In that case.
Yeah.
Oh, this was such a good catch.
That was...
We all saw that catch was sick.
Oh, my God.
Amon-Ra's
so good.
I know.
He's so good.
I really fucked up that evaluation coming into the draft.
Such a great player.
Only if he was a day 2 pick, we all would have.
I know. I know.
Everyone was in, and then he went day 3, and then everyone was out, and now
I know.
I still
and everyone uses that as the anti-draft capital
I drafted
argument.
A lot in his rookie year.
They don't realize that that's like the one outlier. Like
I drafted Elijah Moore instead. I am so happy I did that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But to be honest, like, yeah, I drafted this year in Scott Fishbowl. It was really helpful. I drafted Amon-Ra and Jamal Williams. It's hard to, I made it all the way to the semifinals on the back of Jamal Williams.
Man, but it'll be interesting to see like how, because Amon-Ra St. Brown again this year, I think he's going to be doubted again this year. Because of Jameson Williams.
No.
I think people are going to... I think it's going to be
a damn thing.
Jameson Williams is going to look so good in camp. There's going to be a lot of videos of him looking super fast.
I think more people will doubt Jameson Williams than Amon-Ra at this point.
I never even
Where do you have Jameson Williams ranked?
At this point, maybe, yeah. But when we start to get more towards 2023, I think Jameson
outside
Williams
the top 30 or 40.
I have him at 30.
Yeah.
Wide receiver 30.
At least there.
Yeah. Williams?
And then that doesn't include any incoming rookies. So with incoming rookies, he'll probably be around 35.
Yeah, I think I'm just saying like I think the general public will start to increase on Jameson Williams, like the value.
No, I don't think so. I think he would have been better if he hadn't. No, I don't think so. I think he would have been better if he hadn't played at all. If he hadn't played at all, I would agree with you. But the problem is he came in and played, and you're going to see the numbers. It's going to say like zero fantasy points for games he played. I think that's going to take him down. I think if he had not played,
he did have a big touchdown called back in this game.
But nobody cares. Nobody cares. When you look in May, nobody's going to remember that. Nobody's going to remember that. They're going to see 0, 0, 0. You might remember that, but you have a lot of time on your hands.
But what's it good for?
People who are just looking.
I wish I did.
Even if you remember it, though, you're probably just hurting yourself. You're probably just hurt. It got called back for a reason. You know what I mean?
Well, it was reason probably having to do with another player. But the point of this story,
not his fault at all,
is he would have been better off not playing because he recorded bad fantasy stats.
But it's good for us. Like we should accept that they were bad.
Well, it's not good. I mean, I don't know if it's good or bad. I mean, it's hard to say. But
no, it's good for the guys like us who do pay attention. Even if you do remember that he had that one catch, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Like, screw that.
It makes no difference.
The point is
he played 6 games and had 1 catch. Oh, he would have had 2. Wow, 2. Right. That would have been so much better.
He looked bad. So we should just accept that he's probably
I don't want to say
not buy in.
He didn't look anything. He didn't really play. He never got on the field.
No, but if he didn't play at all, we would have had the idea in our head, like you're saying, that he could be good. But now that we've seen that he played and he wasn't, now we can also agree that he's not good.
No, but he is good.
It's beneficial. Nah.
But see, that's the thing. He is good. He is good. I mean, he's
bad
a good player. Okay, bad players don't have 1,500 plus yards at Alabama. It can't be bad. I don't care. Like he's not bad or wherever it was. Honestly, I don't even remember who went where at this point. But he's not bad. That just doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. You don't force other good players to transfer who are also picked in the first round to other schools if you're terrible. Like he's not, or he was the one. I don't even remember. See, this is how you know I don't follow any college football. It's all just one player is here, one player's there. I don't care. But the point of the story is he was picked in the earlier first round. He had 1,500 yards. Is that even right? Do I even know anything? 1,572 yards and 15 touchdowns in his last year at Alabama. That's pretty good.
Yes.
It's not an accident. Like there's something was good there.
He is a good player.
To happen. So he's not bad. But the question is, what went wrong? Why was it he played 6 games and had 1 catch? What was the problem? What was wrong?
I think the Lions were just being a little bit conservative with him.
They didn't even put him on the field. He didn't play 25% or more of snaps. He played less than 25% of snaps in every single game. So he didn't even get out there.
He wasn't out there. Like he just wasn't out there playing. Like it just wasn't fair. He wasn't out there playing. He played, but he didn't actually get any time on the field.
That's his fault. I mean, if he were better, he would have had more time on the field.
Is it really? It's more.
Coming off an injury, I don't think they're going to rush
him. Do you think if the Lions were completely out of contention, he would have been playing more at the end of the year? I feel like
I don't know if he would have been playing more or less, honestly. If they had been completely out of contention, you could say maybe they would have just shut him down so not to risk injury, or they would have given him more of a chance to play.
Have played at all.
It's a bizarre situation. Why they bothered to
it's hard to
have him practice and play in such a bit part role? What was the
I think they were legitimately trying to make the playoffs and get him up to speed in that way. But yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know. But I mean, I'm definitely not out on him because of what we saw. Definitely. But I do think he's dropped significantly since
Would you rather have him or Jerry Jeudy?
Williams.
I'd rather
They're close-ish now, but
Williams has an uncoachable talent and speed. Williams has a game-changing speed that not many. Better
than I think.
Jeudy has game-changing separation.
Yeah, but that's coachable.
Also,
you can coach.
Quarterback can't hit the broadside of a barn.
If separation is coachable, every wide receiver would get.
Yeah, separation is not. It is not very coachable.
Well, I mean, route running, technique, that.
If it were so coachable, then every receiver would be able to.
Then every receiver would have.
Every receiver would be able to do it, right?
If they were athletic or had.
They can't. They can't all do it.
Not everyone.
So there has to be something about it.
Speed. You can't.
You can't make someone faster.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But
I understand
there
that.
Is an
it's
element
not like Jerry Jeudy's slow.
There's an element to route running that's not.
No, he's not. But Jameson Williams is no.
To be honest with you, Hutch, coaching is more, and you can tell this from the Steelers. Coaching doesn't make Deontay Johnson open. Coaching helps take advantage of the Coaching helps take advantage of the times Deontay Johnson is open. That's where the failure is. The failure is taking advantage of the separation the receiver creates. That's coaching. So that shows up in the fantasy stats. But actually separating can be a little bit of coaching, but is mostly not coaching. It's mostly
Matt Canada's going to be back, so
Oh, he really?
That's what I've heard.
Why? He doesn't know anything.
Don't ask me why. I
have a lot of complaints about that. I mean, there are. Well, whatever. There's nothing else to say. Really.
I heard people from the Steelers media are leaning that he's going to be back because of Tomlin's comments on him.
The incompetent Steelers media. The Steelers media.
Oh, it's Rappaport that said he's going to be back.
Well, that's better then. But the Steelers media is one of the least impartial medias, useless media useless. I just take everything they say and just throw it in a garbage can. All they do is just carry water for the team. They don't have any impartial thoughts of any kind. I don't trust
guys.
them.
I unfortunately have to hop out though.
No.
I know. I'm sorry, but it was great talking to you guys. Thank you, Tyler, so much for inviting me on, man.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'm looking forward to getting back to SDLF in a couple weeks.
Yes, SDLF later in January.
Or whatever we're gonna call it.
Yeah, whatever to call it.
The Tyler Show. We'll call it that. How about that?
Perfect. All right. See you guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Such.
We're not actually going to call it the Tyler Show. as much of a slight narcissist as I can be. I'm not going to call it that. All right. But yeah, no, Spence, what are your comments on the Steelers media? Steelers fan over there.
I mean, they suck.
They suck.
There's this one chick though I do like. She's pretty decent. I can't remember her name right now. Can't remember her name, but she's all right. Everybody else.
I'm not a big fan of the Steelers media. They're not the worst. They're not the worst. Cowboys media is up there with the worst. And then there's the media. There's some ones where they constantly have nothing nice to say about the team.
No, yeah.
The Dolphins media. Common. The Dolphins media is everything is bad. Everything is always bad with the Dolphins. Everything is bad. Everything sucks. It's like, that's not good either. Like, you have to have, like...
McDaniel's going to get fired and...
Oh, no, yeah. McDaniel's going to be fired. Like, the Tua's career is over. Like,
yeah.
You can't have everything is bad, and you can't have everything is always great. That's the Jets media. Everything is great. We're doing great. That's the Jets media. Totally partial. Totally everything is wonderful. You got to have some balance. I feel like there are some fan bases where it's covered accurately. But the Steelers, the Jets, the Dolphins, those ones are the Seahawks. Those ones are ones
funny one. You see the
not covered so accurately.
Like, a quote an hour ago from Zach Wilson. Apparently, he says he'll compete and make it hell for any veteran quarterback the Jets acquire.
Oh my god, that's good. Yeah, that one is bad.
I think
there's some ones. I feel like
is he just going to
Bills media,
or like
the Bills media, the Bengals media, the Lions media, actually, and the Giants are actually not bad. As a Giants fan, they're actually critical when they need to be, but can be somewhat impartial. I don't have too many complaints about the Giants media. Houston is awful because they have to be. Chicago is awful.
Rightfully so.
The Packers media is actually pretty good, despite the fact that they've been dealing with an impossible situation. They've actually covered it pretty fairly. So they're up on my list of actually solid media organizations. But this is my sports management brain instead of my fantasy football brain coming out for you. Failure Irsay? I mean, yes. Jim Irsay is a total failure. Total failure. I mean, he's responsible for... I mean, we remember when we went through their record? We had a whole time going through the record of Frank Reich. Well, it goes on longer because Irsay is responsible for Grigson. He's responsible for failure Grigson. And then he fired Jim Caldwell and Bill Polian for no reason. No reason. And it really didn't improve after that. There were actually a lot of problems after that. So, well, I mean, yes, we can thank them, and they're $40 million poorer for their decision.
It's funny because they had a meeting about it too. The NFL execs had a meeting with.
Oh, they had a meeting, but the owners are not going to listen. They don't care what.
No, I know. I just thought it was funny. They had a whole slide.
Oh, it is funny. I mean,
how much money you
isn't
lost?
Isn't it great to get paid for it? Wouldn't you sign up for this to get paid for $40 million to not do a job for 4 years?
I'd do it for half.
Oh, you're such a good negotiator, Ryan.
Bro, I'll do it for a quarter. I'll do it for an eighth, a 16th.
Yeah, where's my $1 million? Why? Where's my $1 million? I want to get paid $1 million. Where's Tony Pollard going to end up? So yes or no? Is Tony Pollard going to end up back in Dallas?
No.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes.
Jerry Jones is going to buy
and cheap. He's going to come back for relatively cheap.
I don't agree.
I think
he's going to come back and it's going to be relatively expensive. Because Jerry Jones Jerry Jones likes to keep his own.
I absolutely think even if he's going to command more money than a running back should. Like, I don't think it's probably justified.
How much is he going to command?
I think what they're going to do is they're going to ask Pollard how much they want, and they're probably going to give it to him. And I don't think Pollard's a bad guy. He's probably going to say something low because he wants to stay with the team.
I don't know. Like, I legitimately don't think it'd be crazy don't think it's far off that the Bears offer him like $11 million a year to come over. Like, I don't think that's out of.
I mean, he's a great free agent. You know, I don't know. I mean, they can get out from under Ezekiel Elliott's contract, but it would still be expensive. You know, like they'd only save about $5 million, and they'd have like $11 million dead. So it's not a guarantee that they move on from Zeke. When it comes to retaining Pollard, I think they could give it a shot. I mean, they already have CeeDee Lamb not locked up, but they still have 2 more years before they need to actually budget a new extension for him because they have the 2023 end of his rookie deal and the 5th-year option. Michael Gallup is already under a horrible contract. It looks horrible. I mean, he can't even beat out T.Y. Hilton for the wide receiver 2 job. That contract looks horrible. But they need Dalton Schultz. Are they going to retain him? I don't know. I mean, are they going to have to choose? Is that really what it's going to end up coming down to? Are they going to choose between Pollard and Schultz? Can they afford to extend both? I don't know.
I mean, I think if anything, it's Schultz is gone, or I think they would.
That's the wrong decision, but it might be the decision they make. I think it's the wrong decision.
Ryan, where did you see the Matt Cannon not being fired thing?
It was on Steelers Depot because I think Rapp said it on one of his NFL shows.
Yeah, I don't know. The chick I was talking about was Brooke Pryor, and they're talking about Brian Flores is already asked to interview.
She is mixed bag. She's been a lot better in her job covering the Steelers than she was at her old job covering the Chiefs.
Yeah. But Brian Flores has already requested an interview for a OC or for a coordinator position. They didn't say whether it was offensive or defensive.
I heard the Browns also are interested in him as their defensive coordinator.
Browns should get a new head coach.
Who?
Brian Flores. Yeah.
I will say
they got an interview with him.
Flores isn't not a good head coach. People think he was a good head coach, but he was not a good head coach. He was not a good head coach at all. I'm so happy the Giants did not hire him.
I thought we knew that.
No, I don't think so. I think people thought that Brian Flores was a good head coach, and he was for the 1990s. He would have been a great head coach in the 1990s. But that kind of head coach doesn't work anymore. We can't have that. You can't have a coach who consistently, what he did, tears down your players. You can't have that. That doesn't work anymore. That worked 30 years ago. That doesn't work now. He is a head coach with an old mindset, and you see it doesn't work. You see how Tua looked fixed with Mike McDaniel. Why? Because Mike McDaniel didn't tell him he was horrible every 5 minutes. You can't do that. You can't coach that way. So he needs to coach a little differently.
I thought he was pretty good at not spilling it to the media, though. You're talking about Brian Flores, right?
Yeah, but but it's not about spilling it to the media. You don't have to spill it to the media. You can see in the way that you handle your players, constantly pulling them in and out of the game. You can also see your attitude toward the plays you're allowing that player to run. You don't set up the offense for that player. You don't give that player confidence. He is a coach from an old era that I really, there were a lot of other things surrounding him, a lot of controversy. I mean, the way the Dolphins, dealt with firing him was horrible. The way that they treated him was horrible. But that doesn't mean he was a good head coach. He was an awful head coach. They actually made the right decision.
Well, nobody wants him to be a head coach.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess he could be, a coordinator, but he really needs to, he's from this school of coaches that does not exist anymore. This Tom Coughlin style of coach. He's that kind of coach. Those coaches always fail now. They always fail. You can't be that kind of coach in 2023. It just doesn't work. Tom Coughlin is the last that kind of coach who really succeeded. There isn't going to be another one because you can't coach that way. These players have grown up in a different era. It's a different time. You have to treat them like adults, not children. You have to treat them like adults. You have to treat them like they're adults. You have to treat them with respect. You can't just be like, well, you made a mistake. You're going to the bench, or we're going to do this. You're going to run laps or whatever. That doesn't work. You can't treat them
the Joe Judge approach.
Yeah, see how well that worked out, right? I mean, that didn't work. That didn't work. You have to have a modern approach to the game because we are in 2023. It's a new era. Players have more power. That's a great thing. And coaches should adjust to the times. And I think
player coaches are the best kind.
That's what
coaches who have played.
No. Helps, I think sometimes.
The stereotypical players coach where you see them, they're just with their team, they're joking around. And, it's not a pushover though. It's I just feel like
someone who the players admire. They look up to him like actual role model for the team.
Yes, and someone who treats the players like they're adults, not just cogs in a machine. And the best kind of coaches are the ones who adapt Dan Campbell's Dan Campbell's a little bit of a different coach because he's not going to go with what I said, which is the best coaches are the ones who adapt their system to the players they have. That's a Mike McDaniel kind of coach to a degree. What he's done this year is an example you can only do that. Changing the system.
Can't really do that too long. Because like Mike Tomlin,
Brian Daboll's another one. Brian Daboll's a good coach for that because he adapted his system this year. Because he doesn't have the offensive talent. Believe me, it's not there to run with the offensive talent he did have. He did the best with what he had instead of trying to force players that are not good.
My coach of the year vote.
Yeah, he would be. He's a good contender for coach of the year. He's done a very good job.
Caught a touchdown.
It's gonna go somewhere else with more wins, but
I don't think Dan Campbell's necessarily the smartest coach or the best schemer, but he's someone he's a good leader and treats his players like they're adults and with respect, but is also fun. Like he adds a fun element to the coaching. Like he adds some energy. There was energy around the Lions. I saw someone comment this on Twitter. When was the last time there was energy around the Lions? When was the last time anyone on the Lions was excited to be there? Or we were excited to talk about the Lions ever? When?
Calvin Johnson.
That was 6 years ago. I mean, we got to go back to 2015. There was years. I
swear Jamal Williams is single-handedly gaining fans for the Lions.
Yeah, so. And there's been other, a lot of things. I mean, Jared Goff was like kind of a blasé, like nothing, and now people are like liking him again.
Yeah, so I think that hook and ladder play.
Oh, that was such a good play. I love that.
I couldn't believe
that was so bold.
Dial it up. They're so much fun. I'm so sad they're not in the playoffs.
But no, I just think it's interesting. I'm sure we're gonna have more turnover in the head coaching. I mean, we know Lovie Smith fired. We know Cliff Kingsbury fired. We know the Broncos have a vacancy and that Sean Payton is interested. We know that Sean McVay may or may not retire, leaning toward retiring for now. Not a permanent retirement, but I think, walking away from the Rams.
You know who should get fired?
Who?
Brandon Staley for what he did yesterday. How trash are you as a head coach to have your players out there? Mike Williams couldn't even walk on the team bus afterwards. He's got to play a playoff game in what? 5-6 days? 5? I believe they're on Saturday night.
Like a
lot of coaches played their starters in a meaningless game.
Yeah, they went on the third.
Brandon Staley is an example of someone who's actually a good coordinator, but was not prepared to be a head coach. He's just not prepared to be a head coach. He doesn't have the right temperament to be a head coach. He's not ready. He wasn't ready. He became a head coach before he was ready to be a head coach. He didn't have enough experience because he just doesn't seem to understand some of these finer points of being a head coach. And I think he could have. He's like what, 40? Like some people can do it at a younger age, but I don't think he was ready. I think he needed more time. To be.
We've kind of seen that more recently, where we're like,
sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't.
An offensive coordinator, and like we just don't think they were really cut out for a head coach.
Sometimes
it
works
think they
out.
Would be a good offensive coordinator somewhere else, and
I think he kind of has. There's a good head coach in there, but I'm not sure that he was ready to do it yet. All right, what about this one? Let's look at this.
That's what got me riled up. I saw Mike Williams in there, and it got me.
Joe Mixon and Mike Williams. What do we do with them? Well, Mike Williams was going to be on my list of dynasty sells, but then he got hurt. Joe Mixon is always on my list of dynasty sells. I've never really wanted Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon has always been overrated to me. Overvalued.
I don't think this is very polarizing. I don't like either of them.
Yeah. Joe Mixon is a volume-based, mostly ineffective running back.
He's just David Montgomery on a better team.
He's just attached to a much better quarterback and offense in general.
Yeah.
And that's helped a lot in the last.
This year
There's nothing special about either of these guys.
Not this year.
He did see more in the receiving game this year than in previous years, but also you have to remember that Joe Mixon, if I remember correctly, he has 7 rushing touchdowns this year, and he scored 4 of them in one game. And then he also had 2 receiving touchdowns. One of them was in this game. So he scored 5 of his 9 total touchdowns in one of his 14 games played.
Yep.
So yes, you can't erase it, but also that was only 1 week of fantasy. So he helped you. He won you that week, but he hurt you in almost every other week based on what his cost was. You drafted him at RB6 or 7, and he hurt you. He hurt you. In redraft, he hurt you if you drafted him there. He was not helpful. He didn't help you win a title this year. 3.9 yards a carry.
If they counted, if like your league counted week 18 scores for the week 17 players who didn't play in the game, in the Bengals-Bills game, then he did all right and get 18 points.
I mean, he was terrible. I mean, he fell into the end zone, but he had 11 carries for 27 yards. He was terrible.
Yeah, but 18 points. Who cares about the stat line?
No, I care. I care because like how good you are, eventually it catches up to you. Like,
no, yeah, it matters, but you're just talking about winning,
Well,
as far as winning goes, that's a good enough stat line to win.
But he wasn't. I mean, this year, what you would have had to survive his week 15. You would have had to survive his week 15, which was not so good.
Mm-hmm.
You would have had to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
He was. If you had him as your RB1, I don't know if you made the playoffs.
He had that 1 week where he scored 5 times.
Yeah.
He's if you take away the week 18 where most people aren't really using him in fantasy, he scored 4 or 5% of his entire fantasy point total in that 1 week.
Look,
55 points of his 220.
It's the kind of thing where, like, for Joe Mixon, I'm just out. Like, I have Joe Mixon in Dynasty at RB13, but I'm not going to have any of those running backs. Like, I'll have 0 Joe Mixon. You just won't have it. I'd rather take if I'm going to take Joe Mixon at that, I'm not going to take Joe Mixon at that price when I could take someone else a few rounds later. I'll have no Joe Mixon. And not that I've had any Joe Mixon, but I'm just out. He just isn't good. He's never been good. That's the funny thing about Joe Mixon. He's never been good. Never.
Would you rather have Joe Mixon or Dalvin Cook?
Good question. I'd rather have Joe Mixon because Dalvin Cook is even worse.
I feel like they're pretty close, but I think I agree.
Dalvin Cook is 1 year older. Every year matters for running backs, and Dalvin Cook was also he was a little bit better than Joe Mixon this year. Not as involved in the passing game. Joe Mixon was more involved in the passing game than Dalvin Cook. And Dalvin Cook down the stretch he had that one good game against Indianapolis, but
he did get hurt yesterday too.
And he got hurt again.
He was bad.
He played a full 17 this year though, Dalvin Cook. For all the shit we give him. He did play a full 17.
But how many times did he hurt you in that 17?
He hurt you. He was better than Joe Mixon. I mean, he had more attempts a game, more yards a game, better yards per attempt, 1 more touchdown, and it was more evenly distributed.
Nick Chubb?
I would rather have Nick Chubb, I guess. He's not involved in the passing game, but
yeah,
I don't really want Nick Chubb either.
I'm just trying to think of. He's basically he's right around.
He's
there.
Kind of in no man's land for me. I just don't. I don't want Joe
age
Mixon. As for Mike Williams, again, I just don't want Mike Williams. There's a problem. Always an injury. I can't do it. I have Mike Williams at wide receiver 38. I can't. He's already 28. Like, it's just he's there. He's there. I'll let someone else draft him. I won't be me. Mike Williams was on my list of sells before he got hurt, like I said. Absolutely. And Joe Mixon too, Dalvin Cook, all of these guys. It's hard to move them, though. It's hard to move them. The one I would look to move is really actually Alvin Kamara. Because I'd like to move him before people remember that he's going to get suspended. That would be nice. Eckler?
Forget about that.
Honestly. Oh, Eckler still should command. I mean, I just did my pick value chart on my Patreon. That's actually not that high. I mean, I have Eckler as worth between the 105 and 106. Wow. It's higher or lower than you thought?
Higher. I'm selling for that all day.
Right. Which is why
I'll take damn near any first.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, nobody. I don't think anyone's paying that.
No, I don't.
So that's why Eckler's not.
Maybe.
I don't think people are paying. I don't think anyone's paying that. So what that means is that Eckler's not a sell.
It'd have to be like the guy who either won the ship or the guy who lost the ship and wants to win next. Like he's like trying to compensate already for next year.
No, but like this is why I don't have Eckler on my list of sells. Because he's really not a sell. I'm more likely to sell low on Chubb or Mixon than Eckler. Because I think you could win a fantasy title behind Eckler. I don't think Chubb or Mixon are going to win you it on their own.
Still want like a first though, I think. Like a late first for those guys.
Yeah. I get it. But I'm more likely to just take what I can get with those two. Whereas with Eckler, I'm more likely to hold out for the offer I really want. It doesn't matter because I don't have these guys. Like I don't have any. I would never have any Chubb.
I don't have any of these guys either.
I don't have them.
I don't have any of these.
I would take Kupp here easily.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Dalvin Cook, or Devontae and Cook. Devontae Adams is difficult to sell, but he is a sell for me. Cook is Cook is definitely a sell.
Adams is still like, no, maybe not. Is he still top 24? He probably is. He's probably like right there, like 24, 25.
I have him at 23.
Yeah.
But
it's not bad.
It's honestly not bad. I just, the quarterback situation is concerning.
Upside is there, but
the upside is there. But yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, again, it always depends on what you can buy and sell for. There's also like the kind of sells that I had on my list were more players that have a potential to have a huge drop or in value. Devontae Adams is not that. Yeah. Nothing horrible.
He's still relatively safe.
Yeah. Like you can wait to sell Devontae. You could see it and it could be horrible and then you could have a disaster. But you can wait to sell Devontae Adams until August and nothing much terrible is going to happen to his value. The players I had on my sell list were players that I thought something very bad could happen to them. Christian McCaffrey was on there because he's healthy now. And you just one more problem. The playoffs are coming up. Everyone's watching. So he was on my list for that reason alone. Zay Jones was on my list because he had a pretty good season, but I feel like this was it. Calvin Ridley's coming back. The Jaguars could bring in yet another weapon. He could be relegated down that list very quickly.
I don't think he's a sell.
I don't agree. I mean,
for where I just drafted him in the startup that I said I was.
I think he had the best season he's ever going to have.
Yeah, but when you draft him in like the 16th round of a startup, it's like what else are you gonna get? Like honestly, so that's his value.
I'm surprised he was there.
So like if that's his value, like
I'm surprised he lasted that long.
Like, would you sell for a third, Tyler? Like a random third, like a 306?
No.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see him being worth too much more than that. I feel like you could probably buy him for
Isaiah Pacheco is definitely on my sell list.
Oh, yeah. Come on. Yeah. Running backs, sell list. Okay? That's how it works.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, running backs. If it's a sell list, the running backs are there.
Yeah.
I can't think. There's not many running backs you're not selling. Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker. I mean,
there's not many running backs.
That might be like end list, honestly. Like the rest you could sell, and who cares? Like no one's gonna beat you up about it.
Yeah. But yeah.
Like what's another? I can't think of any running backs other than that I would have a firm. Maybe. Who?
ETN.
ETN.
Just tied with Trevor Lawrence and.
Yeah, but I think you could sell.
Yeah, I mean, no, you could sell. You can sell anyone.
Like I don't think I'd ever beat myself up.
I sold
like, I don't
JT
see
last year.
Well, yeah, but I don't see a situation where I ever sell ETN and I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. Like I don't think that'll ever happen because his value is so high right now.
Some running backs I don't think are. I wouldn't mind buying into.
Well, I said Breece and Kenneth Walker. Who else? Yeah. I can't think of anybody.
Well, I'm never gonna trade for Breece or Kenneth Walker. I draft them.
I would trade for Breece and Kenneth.
It's not likely I'm gonna pay that much. I'm probably gonna prefer to draft them. I doubt I never trade for a running back like that. Not that. Like those are running backs I either draft or don't have. Usually. Either in a rookie draft or a startup. But I would almost never trade for players like that. Other players I would draft, just looking at their ADPs and my current price. Ramondre Stevenson, with his end to the season being kind of meh. Definitely someone I could draft. Najee Harris.
Nope.
Definitely another one I could see drafting. Other than that, Brian Robinson.
But
I'm never going to trade for any of these guys because once they're on someone else's team, then there's running back scarcity comes into play, and then they have more value. So I'm never going to trade for them. It's almost never that I trade for running back at all. It's rare that I trade for running back at all. Very rare. But there are a few players where I don't mind their draft price.
Where do you have Brian Robinson, Tyler?
Brian Robinson, I have at running back 19.
No, but do you have your pick value thing?
In what do we want?
Superflex.
202. It's actually
wow. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'd never buy at that price. I don't believe in him that much. He looked decent.
I mean, I have Brian Robinson. I would take 202.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat, I think.
Yeah. There's a decent chance there's just, another second round running back there.
Yeah, I think the odds are more than likely. I think they are. In Superflex formats, yes. In one QB, probably not.
Yeah.
Just depends where Anthony Richardson goes. I know I brought that up so many times.
I like Brian Robinson.
Well, and I'd rather just have whatever wide receiver is probably at 202 anyways. There's definitely going to be a round 2 or round 3 wide receiver that's got a good enough track record to be an NFL player, like consistently. Early second wide receivers are usually pretty good.
Jeff Saturday is a serious candidate for the Colts head coaching job. Just got that alert.
Please.
Yes.
Bullshit.
Yes, Indy. Yes.
Bullshit. You think you can give me a run for your money? I don't know about that. I got offered an earlier second for James Cook. Got to take it.
Smash.
Yeah. Feels like sunk cost, but
I don't like James Cook, so yeah.
I like James Cook. I don't like where he's at. You talked about that earlier.
I bought him well, I'm not gonna say that.
Blake Corum going back to
I got revisionist history in me.
Do you think NIL will impact this draft class? Maybe.
No.
But that's going to be the case any year.
That was due to him. He didn't go back because of that at all, though.
Yeah.
He went back because of his injury.
He scrolled down a little more. Yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, it doesn't matter because, yes, the NIL will impact it. It's probably going to be negligible.
But it's going to happen every year.
Any change to the system is going to affect the system. But
the NIL still needs a major buff to compete with the draft.
Even if it was amazing, it's just the way that the system is moving. It's just the way the system is moving. It could impact it. How much it will, it's kind of irrelevant to talk about. We're not going to know until
I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, if you could look on the one website for NIL valuations and they're nothing compared to a first round rookie money. So
yeah, no.
Not yet. But who knows?
Lost in the ship, and now I'm stuck with Eckler, Connor, and Kamara at running back. Do you sell all of them? This is why I tell you not to get in this situation. But now you're in this situation. So
I don't hate the James Conner situation as much as the other ones.
I mean, James Conner, what are you even gonna? What are you even
gonna? But still with the Cardinals, right?
Well,
so it's not a big deal.
It's one of those where he's going to provide more value than any value you're going to get back right now.
Yeah, exactly. You bought him for cheap, and he's still cheap, and he's hopefully going to produce next year and the year after, maybe.
You can try. I mean, you can always try. You never know, but I have a feeling you're going to be unsuccessful in getting the kind of return I'd want for James Conner.
Production or value?
Eckler, I'm more willing to hold on to. Kamara, I might just be fine cleaning my hands of Alvin Kamara.
Suspension.
I have Alvin Kamara so low in my Dynasty rankings that I'm fine. Just
he's outside.
Would you trade James Conner straight up for Brian Robinson?
Oh, absolutely. I'd much rather have Brian Robinson. I trade Alvin Kamara straight up for Brian Robinson. I don't want Alvin Kamara. But like, if I could turn Alvin Kamara into like Jerry Jeudy, think you can still do that, or is it too late?
No, I think it's too late.
I think I'd rather have James Conner
than
Brian Robinson.
Well, that's why I asked. I think it's close at least.
James Conner,
he's nothing special, but he's got the contract and he ended the season
when
fine.
He's healthy, which obviously that's it's hard, when he's
that's
healthy.
Any running back.
When
that's
he's healthy, I know, and so when he is healthy, he gets all the work in the world, and you don't see that most of the time.
He gets
that's also. I also think that is first of all
that's gonna
isn't healthy, but
go down.
He's always average.
Secondly, this was not by design. Like, they tried to have other running backs and they all failed. That's going to change.
Yeah, but that's not fine.
No, it's not fine, because if he gets 50% or 50 to 55% of the work instead of the 90% that he was getting down the stretch, it's not fine.
He's still going to get
goal line. If the offense sucks, then getting goal line, and it's going to suck, then getting goal line is not going to be as good as it was in the past.
It sucked when he was playing with fucking, who was it? Mason Rudolph and the Duck, and he still did fine. He's fine. There's no world where...
In 2018, it was good, but in 2019
no world where he's
just
going to be terrible. Like, no.
There's a world in which he's useless. There's a world in which he's totally useless. If the offense is bad and he's splitting at 60-40, then he's useless. He's not worth anything.
That's already baked into his value, though.
I mean, his value. I mean, he's one bad thing away from his value being 0. So I would say it's not baked into his value.
No, he would get picked up. He'd get picked up by somebody. He's better than Dante Foreman and all these other bums that keep getting picked up. He would get a handcuff position somewhere at worst.
He's already going to be 28. It's not like he's young.
No, but
you see it all the time. I mean, you see it all the time.
What's his name? What was the Carolina Panthers guy that took over for CMC 2 years ago? He was 28. Mike Davis, yeah.
And then
he went to the Falcons.
Perfect example. Mike Davis was good, and then 0.
Yeah, but okay, James Conner has a much better track record.
No, I know, but it's just to say an older running back can go from good to 0 very quickly. I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah, but Mike Davis all the
time. I mean, someone goes from being worth a lot to being out of the league very quickly. It's very common. You know that.
Mike Davis was never good.
That's not true. He was good. Both of those years he filled in.
That's it.
I mean, has James Conner ever been that great?
No, he wasn't. But he was above average. Like, he was average is what he was.
Yeah,
Mike Davis was never even average.
James Conner was pretty good. And this year, it was actually one of his more efficient years.
No, yeah, he was solid.
2018 really was the only year of James Conner's career where he was anything plus.
Yeah.
Like, as an actual player. Other than that, he's just been
infinitely better track record than
Mike Davis.
It's just like not even close.
Sure. But 28-year-old running back is one incident away from out the door. Any 28-year-old running back. I don't care who you are.
Sure. Yeah. 100%.
I don't care who you are.
But we're just talking about, like,
he's not elite.
Henry's, like, who cares?
Sure. But James Conner, to me, has some little to no value. So.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's the best
I guess
part.
I would. I mean, it depends on what you can get. It is what it is. It's when am I ever going to have James Conner? I don't have him.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the best part. This guy probably bought him for his second, and hopefully he said he lost on the ship, so he got second. He got paid. He bought him for his 211. You know what I mean? And now he's fine. Like, who cares?
To be honest with you, James Conner is probably someone you just hang on to and hope for the best. So you can even sell him for.
That's basically what we were saying with that one. Like, the other ones,
since I feel that way about him, this is why I don't This is why I don't have him, because he has no value at all, no trade value at all. So once you get him, you're stuck with him.
Yeah. But
hopefully he helped you get $100.
If you, hopefully he helped you, get to the chip. But also, like, hopefully you gave away 305 or something, and it's like.
I mean, if you did that, you made out like a band.
Exactly, but even like a late second, like you were saying, and it's like, all right, whatever. Like, I can stick. I don't need to like recoup my value and what I gave away for him. Like, he's already produced for my team for a year, brought me there. Like, it's fine if I don't get back another, like, early third or something back for him. Like, it's like I'll just ride it out. It's not a big big deal.
How do we feel about Elijah Mitchell?
He's like dead, right?
He's fine. Yeah, I feel bad for him.
He's like a bad handcuff. He's not even a good handcuff, in my opinion.
He's a pretty good
score
handcuff.
Twice yesterday.
There's a lot better handcuffs, though.
Who?
Pollard. Well, the free agency is going to mix it all up. So I can't actually.
Pollard hasn't been a handcuff for a while.
What do you mean? Zeke went out. You started Pollard and he did.
Yeah,
great.
but Pollard is a standalone running back.
Oh no, that's fine. No, I'm just saying. Yeah, I get you're saying like his value is higher than the handcuff, but what I'm saying is it's hard to say now with this free agency class because a bunch of the handcuffs are in this free agency class.
Elijah Mitchell to me is someone who has talent and was supplanted by someone elite who, I don't think suddenly made Elijah Mitchell bad.
Yeah, but he didn't like have talent.
Absolutely did. Absolutely,
he was like a mediocre running back.
I don't agree with that.
And he didn't catch passes. Disagree.
I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't.
What do you mean?
That.
He doesn't catch passes.
Well, no, it's not about catching passes. I mean, he doesn't catch that many passes. Well, I mean, he was pretty good as a rookie. He was efficient. He was good. His problem is always staying healthy. But he was a workhorse.
49ers, but that's the 49ers. They're always efficient with the running. But if he's not catching any passes, like
not everyone is
12
efficient.
Points a game.
And Tevin Coleman was not efficient in that offense. And I think they've learned that they can't just plug and play, because if they could just plug and play, then Trey Sermon and Tyrion Davis-Price would have succeeded, and neither did. So they can't just plug and play. You can't be bad and still succeed. You have to at least be.
Yeah, no, he wasn't bad. I just don't. He was a mediocre. Like he's nothing special. Like if Christian McCaffrey gets hurt, you're not jumping for joy because now you have Elijah Mitchell.
Oh, I am. Okay, I totally disagree with you. I totally disagree. I mean, I would be. I mean, you could have started Jeff Wilson on this team earlier in the season, and you were starting him in some cases an RB1 on this team, and then he got traded to the Dolphins. That was a funny story. And then when Elijah Mitchell went down the first time, because Jeff Wilson was a 49er starter. I totally disagree with that. I mean, Elijah Mitchell had in week 10, he had 18 carries, and then, he got hurt again. So,
yeah, I mean, he put up 15 points as a rookie with very limited passing work in his games. Like, I think he's like, if something happens to McCaffrey, like he's
the kind of player I'd love to keep around just because we know he's good. And since I know he's good, if he's the starter, I feel totally comfortable starting him because I know I've seen it work before. I don't have to guess. We know the 49ers have a good running attack. We know if McCaffrey goes down, I feel like I can start Mitchell. And then, he's a talented running back who may get another opportunity later. Those are the younger, he's not that young, but younger guy. I don't mind hanging around on my Dynasty team. Those tend to be the players I always have. I mean, if I'm not going to draft running backs early, then I have to draft running backs at some point, right? So I end up loading up my team. I mean, my team is full of these types of players. Like, it's going to have a lot of Elijah Mitchell, Alexander Mattison. It could have, Jalen Warren. So it depends on the price. I mean,
Khalil Herbert.
My
thing is I like all these other guys more than Mitchell. Not because
I like them more,
but you know what Mitchell is. You're saying you're getting 12 to 15.
But I know what all the other ones are too. I know what Alexander Mattison is, and
Alexander Mattison delivers. He catches passes.
I wish he delivered a little more in the opportunities he had. To be honest with you, I wish he delivered a little more. And we've never seen Alexander Mattison be a starter for an extended period of time. We've never seen that. Never seen that.
That's not his fault. It's Dalvin Cook just being healthy.
No, I'm just saying we haven't seen it, though. It's not about fault. It just hasn't happened. So we haven't seen that.
He's still plug and play.
I mean, Elijah Mitchell pushed Trey Sermon aside as a rookie. Like, we can't forget about that. I mean, he pushed away someone.
Trey Sermon was terrible, though.
But
Dalvin Cook's not.
It is terrible. What it is. I mean, you still have to. It is what it is. You have the opportunity you're given. 6th-round picks don't just magically become a starter. I mean, you take the opportunity you're given, and he ran with it and played well. I mean, we've never seen Alexander Mattison do that. That's the thing. He just hasn't done it.
He's good. I don't know. It's just literally when he gets work. In games, he's had 50 Madison. If he's gotten 50% of the work, he's 16 plus points every single time. Obviously, that's only 4 or 5 times. And this year it didn't happen a single time because, like you said, Dalvin actually survived, which was kind of crazy. But that was the massive appeal for Madison coming into this year.
But do you think people saw? What's going to happen to Madison
anytime? Well, yeah, no, I agree. I have no idea. We have no idea what's going to happen.
We have no idea.
But that was like that was the main appeal is if Dalvin misses just that 1 or 2 games here and there, which he definitely will, we thought. Madison can step right in and give you 20 plus, and we've seen it happen almost every time.
Yeah, I just feel better about the guy where I've seen a lot more. I've seen a lot more from Elijah Mitchell, despite the fact he's only been in the league for 2 years.
You've seen a lot more mediocrity, is what.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I mean, he had a season where he had 200 carries and did pretty well in 11 games. You know,
Sony Michel's done that 3 years.
I get it, but Sony Michel, I've always thought was bad.
Yeah, but he did the exact same thing.
No, I don't agree with you. I'm gonna have to disagree. You know me. Arguing with me is a waste of time. It's like arguing with a brick wall.
Elijah Mitchell.
My mind's already made up.
Is just.
I'm not gonna change my mind.
He's just a handcuff.
Elijah Mitchell?
Yeah.
Well, he's now. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, to answer the guy's question, he's just a handcuff. If you get him cheap enough, every handcuff is worth it.
Well, yeah. I mean, my team is loaded with those guys. We know that.
But you'll take whichever ones are cheaper. You know what I mean? You'll keep going down the list.
Well, I mean, obviously, I have an order of preference.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
We all do.
But some
but
guy
of the
takes
ones
him in
that I
10th,
consider to be handcuffs, Elijah Mitchell is the one I have ranked the highest.
Right. Yeah. It's just hard with the free agent class. You don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them in there that are going to be going away, or maybe stay.
Yeah. Trey Lance played 1 game in a downpour, then played 1 series. It's not tough to judge. It's really not. If Trey Lance were that great, he would have started in 2021, but he wasn't that great.
You know, it'd be cool if he didn't lose against the Bears in that one.
That would have been nice. That would have helped. No, I mean,
Trey Lance. I get it. It was bad weather. And we have such limited sample size, but it's just the problem of he's had a few chances, and in just those few chances, he's literally never looked as good as Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo, and even at times like Nick Mullins has looked in their starts.
The worst,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Is
that's crazy.
They're just bumbly guys, who can just kind of throw it a little accurate, 20 yards on the field, are just what Shanahan
didn't
wants.
CJ Beathard get in there for a game or two and look better?
Trey Lance doesn't have
come on.
Trey Lance does not have
and they're not the same player whatsoever. So.
He doesn't have a right to be an NFL starting quarterback. It's just the 49ers.
I mean, and we already had a super limited sample from college. His college sample was already super small.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We talking about this guy, it's small sample.
So that's the thing is are we 100% sure that it is too he is worthy and that it is too early to judge? What if we actually really see we're trying to take what we saw from sophomore year of college or whatever, and say, okay, he's still going to do good in the NFL because of this? I think that's at this point too much.
He had no business getting 3 firsts traded for him. No business. Absolutely no business.
I think a more interesting question is what's going to happen to Jimmy Garoppolo, because he's definitely gone, right? I mean, there's no way. There's no way they can bring him back too.
Who was it?
Unless they get rid of Trey Lance. Unless they just pull a...
How are they going to do that? What's
his name? I can't think of him. Fuck.
How are they going to do that, though?
Who's the guy that got drafted and then dropped? Rosen.
What are they going to get back?
Nothing.
Rosen.
Yeah. No, they're not going to cut him.
Hey.
No, they're not going to cut
Who
Trey
freaking knows, dude? If this offseason, if his injury just lingers or whatever, and they're like...
Someone would take a chance for a third.
Oh, no, they would. So they did the same thing with Rosen. They took his shot after they cut him.
Yeah.
But he's probably just bad. And then we'll probably just learn that when he's on the next team. If Brock Purdy, like you guys are saying, if Brock Purdy goes into the playoffs and he does well, then they're going to just keep Jimmy G, keep Brock, and ship Lance.
Oh, no.
There's no point. You don't ever think there's no scenario where you keep Brock and then you keep Lance.
Oh, no, that's exactly. I totally don't agree. That's exactly the scenario. Oh, no, that's exactly the scenario.
I think Jimmy's gone regardless.
You're not going to bring Jimmy back on a $15 million, what he's going to cost, which is going to be $15 million or more, unless he's going to be the absolute starter.
I was going to cost that when he cost less last year, and he's been injured this year.
But he was already under a contract. When you're a free agent, you get paid more. When you're a free agent, you get paid more because the demand for you can go across all 32 teams. So he's going to be paid more this year. He's going to be paid more.
Am I forgetting it wrong? He took the cut last year.
He took the cut because they had him under a barrel. They had him under a $24 million non-guaranteed contract where they could cut him. They could wait until the day before the season started, cut him and owe him $1 million. That's why he took the reduction, because he had no choice. They had all the leverage. He had no leverage. He was in a bad situation. Now it's totally different. He'll be a free agent. He will have all the leverage and they'll have no leverage. So he can do, they also, as part of that agreement, they agreed that they cannot franchise tag him. So he has all the leverage. He can go anywhere he wants. And I think there will be many teams that are interested in him. Many teams. The Jets, first and foremost, if they don't get Derek Carr or someone else. The Jets, we know Robert Saleh comes from the San Francisco
I'd take him on the Patriots.
Interesting. I mean, that could be interesting. I think he's an upgrade over Mac Jones, personally. I think he's
I'd
better.
Take him. I think I've had enough at this point.
That's what I'm saying. Why?
Well, they're not going to be able to bring him
better
back.
Than Mac Jones.
Not,
listen,
what I'm saying is they're not going to be able to bring him back.
Because Brock is also better.
They don't have enough money?
Because Brock is also why you
the free agent market when there are other teams that are desperate. No,
yeah, but Jimmy,
they don't.
Is Jimmy going to be the guy that takes the most money, or would he come back?
Absolutely,
for a few million less.
Absolutely, he felt so disrespected by how the 49ers treated him this offseason. He took the deal because he had no choice. Because he was in a spot where it was take this deal, you get $8 to $10 million, you get in a position where you might be able to start. You're not cut one day before the season begins. He felt completely disrespected. I think. Absolutely.
There's just no way.
He wants an opportunity to start as an unquestioned starting quarterback, which I think he's going to get.
There's just no way that they go into the playoffs this year with a championship-looking roster and then come out with only Brock Purdy and Trey Lance and then say, all right, we're going into next year with Brock
I don't
Purdy
think that.
as a
I mean, what's the
starter,
alternative?
Trey Lance as the backup. That's just a terrible.
No, I think that's exactly what they're going to do because they have guys. This is your dream. This is your dream. You have two young quarterbacks under cheap contracts. This is your dream. They've won 6 games with Brock Purdy. This is what you dream of as an NFL owner, as an NFL general manager. This is what you dream of. This is if you could have anything, this is what you want.
I'm all for it being Brock Purdy, but if Brock Purdy gets hurt, you want a chance to win the ship, and they know Lance can't do that.
Trey Lance is cheap. What are you going to do with him?
Cut him.
Re-signing Jimmy Garoppolo is not a choice. They're not going to be able to do that. They're under a ridiculous amount of cap strain. They don't have $20 million for Jimmy Garoppolo. They don't have it. They don't have it. They cannot re-sign Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not a choice. Even if they trade Trey Lance, they still can't afford it.
Close.
They can't do it.
I think another team is going to definitely offer something more than 12, 15 mil a year.
It's going to cost more. I mean, Jameis Winston.
As much as they would like to keep him, like the logic makes sense.
$21 million of it guaranteed over 3 years. It's going to cost more. It's going to cost more. It just is. This is just how it works,
right? Like,
if you're the Jets and you have $80 million in cap space, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it that's better than spending $20 million of it on Jimmy Garoppolo? What are you going to do? Build your team around Mike White? You can't do that. So I think that there are going to be many suitors who are interested in Jimmy Garoppolo. Now that you don't have to trade for him. You don't have to trade for him. He's free. He's free, available. You don't have to negotiate with another team. You don't have to negotiate a restructured contract. You don't have to bring him in after you've already made all your other free agent moves and you're short on cap space. It's at the start of an offseason. He's free. There will be interest. He's going to be signed in the first 2 days of free agency to a contract that I think is going to be bigger than people think. It's not going to be long. It's going to be a 1 or 2 year deal, but it's going to be expensive. The 49ers cannot afford it, and they shouldn't. They're not going to be able to win with paying $20 million to Jimmy Garoppolo. They would have to significantly cut around their roster in order to be able to afford that. So they can't do that. They're going to go in with Trey Lance and Brock Purdy, and then we'll see what happens. And I think at this point, there's a good chance that it's not Trey Lance. And we got to consider it.
No, I mean, like what you're saying, Spence, it totally makes sense because, like, from their perspective, it's like obviously they want.
They would love it, but it's not possible. It's just not. It's not possible.
You can keep Jimmy G on the back burners in case.
So why would Jimmy G want to stay there if there are other quarterbacks who are potentially
like,
competing for the starting job? Why wouldn't he want to go to the Jets where they're not competing?
Or the Raiders, or the
Raiders,
Panthers, or like.
You wouldn't want to. You wouldn't want to play with Devontae Adams. It sounds pretty good. I could play there.
there's going to be just teams that are willing to shell that money out for him, for someone of his caliber, and
the Commanders as well could also shell out for him. They have a lot of cap space.
They
have
good
weapons.
Good
weapons.
I don't.
Yeah, good weapons to play with. It would be potential good fit. So yeah, that's going to be the interesting. I think it's going to be one of the first dominoes to fall in free agency. To be honest with you. I just traded Hollywood. Oh, this is expensive. Hollywood 105 and a 25 first for Waddle. It's a little expensive.
No, too much for me.
I think I'm just not going to be doing that. It's a lot of the 25 first is also so unknown. I mean, you don't know what your team's going to look like in 2025. That could be the 101. 105 is pretty good. Hollywood's pretty good. It's just a little much. I'm just not going to do that.
I would do Hollywood in one of the first.
Yeah, that would be better. I don't know anything about this. I don't really pay attention. All right. How about Kansas City taking David Montgomery?
Well,
I can't say that I wouldn't like it.
Real quick though, wait. This other comment, like I understand what they're trying to say. Like he's saying Pollard is not the lead back and him and Zeke are friends, so he's obviously not going to be like, I should be the lead. Like I get what you're saying, but he's literally been like winded after 3 straight carries, been on the bench, like talked about how he like doesn't want to do, like how he's a good, and I don't think it's because they're just buddy. Like I don't think that's just the type of player that Tony Pollard is. Like as much as we want him to be a 25 touch player that scores us 30 points every single week.
Nobody cares about any of this. What matters is that he's been pretty good on the role he's received.
Exactly.
Pretty good for fantasy. I don't think we should complain.
Yeah.
People also forget you're going to be efficient the less you do. You know what I mean? If you're not,
done enough.
If you're not getting asked to do Derrick Henry type workload, you're going to be able to be more
when you're not
efficient
just getting thrown right down the middle every time.
The dream is when you can be efficient on the big workload. That's the dream.
Yeah, that's the dream. That's Jonathan Taylor last year, Nick Chubb,
Todd Gurley of old.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's the dream.
If we see Tony Pollard do that, cool, but...
the one thing I'm not...
Tua has not been cleared to do anything so far.
Well, he's going to be cleared. He's going to play this week. He was going to play. They don't have a choice. I mean, they're going to find a way to
have clarity by Wednesday, not clearance.
Clarity. I think he's going to play. I think it's going to be... I mean, what choice do they have? You saw how they looked. This week, he's going to play. It is what it is. You got to playoff football. I think we got to get him out there. That's what I think. I mean, it's playoffs. You don't get to. It's not a guarantee. A lot of people, there's going to be next. Oh, you're going to make the play. You might not make the playoffs again. Some of your teams go 6, 7 years without making the playoffs. I think that he needs to get ready and he should play this game. It's the playoffs. I think it's it's worth, even if it's a little risky. I think it's worth the risk. That might be a hot take. Some people might disagree with that, but you don't get that many opportunities to make the playoffs. I think this is if he can play, I think he should play. I don't think just because the optics would look bad or whatever, I don't think he can worry about that. You got to worry about winning a football game. And I think that if he is not currently concussed, he should play. That's my opinion. If he is still currently concussed, then he's not going to play. But if he's not concussed now, then he should play. I think it's pretty simple, really, for me. That's the deciding factor. If he can clear the concussion protocol, he should play. Pretty, the NFL, it's an independent protocol. He either clears it or he doesn't. So that's going to make the decision. But if he's healthy, he should play. How about Casey? Yeah, so I'm not going to do too much of those hypotheticals. Yeah, that would be nice.
Casey taking any free agent running back. I mean,
that would be nice. We could talk about it. Oh, yes, it would be great. We always do this with free agency. Yeah, no, this would be great. That would be great.
Send it is what it everybody is. To Kansas City.
Everyone there. Yeah, we can't worry about a hypothetical. It's a possibility, but it's
Tyreek Hill to Kansas City.
Yeah, that would be great.
They need
it's also a possibility he goes and signs and is Travis Etienne's backup in Jacksonville. No, not so exciting, right? I mean, we're not going to get into this could happen, that could happen. We can talk about it, but speculation is just what it is. Speculation. Oh, Toronto Dave says hi, Spence.
I said hi.
You cannot make someone run a 4.2. That you can't coach. You cannot make.
Yeah.
You can make it faster, but you're not going to turn Keenan Allen into Tyreek Hill. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. You cannot make.
You can help
coach
people
them
run
in the 40-yard dash, but you're not
exactly.
going to.
You can clean
make a
up
possession
their
receiver
you can
into
clean up their footwork and their release.
You can do a little bit of a
cleanup.
cleanup. Yeah, you could make them a little faster, but
you don't just
you
you don't just get elite speed.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is not going to become Jameson Williams, and Jameson Williams is not going to become Amon-Ra St. Brown either. Those are not going to happen. They're different, and they're going to stay different no matter how much you coach them. But yes, of course, you can coach and work around the edges, but you're not going to radically change someone's 40 time like that. We're true believers in Cam Akers. I'm going to say no, but I am a believer in that Cam Akers has a good NFL career ahead of him. But am I a believer in terms of this is a high-end dynasty asset I want to invest in? No, I'm not there.
Close. He's a free agent next year, right?
No, he's under contract for this year, 2023 contract, and then a 2024 free agent.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
like after next year, he'll be a free agent.
Well, I mean, yeah, but
so you're buying him.
We could have said that about Josh Jacobs, and I think we would say that Josh Jacobs is a real dynasty asset right now.
Yeah, but Josh Jacobs had a million times better track record than Cam Akers. Not even. Close.
Yes,
not even comparable.
Yes,
not close.
But most people had written Josh Jacobs off going into this year. Completely wrong.
No, he was like RB20. He's been RB20 for his whole life.
Not after he played in the Hall of Fame game. Not after they declined his 5th-year option. He was not that high. He plummeted in dynasty ranks after those sequence of events. They were talking about a Patriot-style committee. There were a lot of things. Everything coming out of the Raiders was negative, and then they played the season.
Week 1. That Hall of Fame game was an absolute doozy.
Everything in the offseason was all bad. And then they came into the season and it's like none of that mattered. And then it was all good.
He's not out there for the first snap. Like,
to be honest with you, I don't think that that's a lesson we should learn, because usually when teams speak with their money, we should listen to them. Declining the 5th-year option was not a good sign, but it just happened that he ended up being good anyway. Usually when teams speak with their money, we should listen. So I think
he's definitely the first guy that plays in the Hall of Fame game that led the NFL in rushing.
Yeah, and also
definitely
almost every first rounder who gets the 5th-year option declined ends up being a disaster.
The lowest he ever hit was RB30 on Keep Trade Cut, which is the most reactionary of the sites.
For who?
For Jacobs.
30?
Yeah.
That's low.
I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
Compared to 20, he was at 20 before. You know what I mean?
But that's a lot. It's a drop. I mean, that's a big drop. I think people had written him off. And honestly, like in retrospect, I don't think this is a process that I'm going to get right ever. Like, I think it is what it is. I think this is just something that happened. All the indicators, we know what they are, said that Josh Jacobs was going to be bad. And then he wasn't. It happens. But the majority of the time, when 5th-year options are not picked up, when additional players are brought in, when you play in the Hall of Fame game, when the team talks about you may or may not be there for the future, these are usually not good things. But there was an exception. There were going to be exceptions. There are going to be outliers and exceptions. And I think it's the kind of thing where, like, don't chase the next one. And rolling back to this, I think Cam Akers is, to a degree, kind of the next one of those. And I will say, I probably was in on Cam Akers more than most. It depends on where his value. If his value comes to a point, because he's someone who's still majorly in flux. If it comes to a point where it's pretty low and I'm okay with it, I could go with it, but he's not going to be a high value asset for me. I currently have him at running back. 22, not that low. Maybe I'm not that out.
Jacobs?
Akers.
Okay.
Jacobs I have at running back 6. So a lot higher.
I was going to say.
Yeah, a lot higher.
I think
there aren't that many running backs, man. There aren't that many running backs. Who do you want me to have?
There's not that many running backs. There's not that many quarterbacks. There's not that many tight ends. But oh goodness, there's a lot of wide receivers.
Where's Jacobs gonna go if he leaves?
Like
if he goes to literally anywhere but
depends. I mean, what if he signs in Kansas City, right? I mean, you just don't know.
No, I'm still not moving him up.
Well, I'm not moving.
He only goes down. He can only go down except
the problem is that the alternatives are so unappealing that there's just not.
That's without rookies, though, right?
Of course, yeah. There's going to be probably, obviously, 1, and I could see a good chance that there's 2, maybe even 3 rookies ahead of him. But the running back landscape's just brutal. I mean, like,
let me look at it. Yeah.
Like, I have Najee Harris at running back 9.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but this is the reality. Like, this is the reality of the world we live in. Like, this is why I don't want these guys. Like, I don't want these guys. I don't want any of these guys.
Saquon or
I have Jacobs at 6 and Saquon at 7.
See, I'd take Saquon because I think the chance of him returning to the Giants is higher.
Saquon looked
even if he's older.
Not so good down the stretch. It was more like the old Saquon, the old bad one.
If he stays on the Giants, I don't care.
I care.
All I'm doing is taking the bet that he stays on the Giants.
I don't care.
What about Javonte? Oh, I mean, I know he's obviously under him, but like, why not? Why not?
I have it up because we have no idea what he's going to look like coming. I'm not starting with that. I'm not starting with that. There's going to be a new injury, a new delay. You know, even with J.K. Dobbins, he came back and he was good, but he never regained the dynasty value. I'm not starting with the delay. Like, I can't
Tony
have that.
Pollard is RB12 on Keep Trade Cut.
I have him at 14, so I don't think it's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's what it isn't, because there's just nobody. There's nobody. You either have to take Tony Pollard or you have to take someone old like Derrick Henry.
Yeah, all day.
I'll take Tony Pollard.
Najee, Joe Mixon.
I'd rather have Najee. Najee's younger than Tony Pollard and, has a more guaranteed workload, so I'll go with him. Joe Mixon, I have one spot above Pollard. They're back-to-back. I have Joe Mixon.
But it's like, in that range, it's like you want
very fair.
Jones,
Yeah, very
you want
fair.
Alvin Kamara,
Alvin Kamara. We don't want to know how low. I have Alvin Kamara at 24. So
what are you hoping for with Pollard? That he goes somewhere and is a starter?
I don't think his
I'm fine with him coming back. With him coming back and having him at 14, that's kind of. He's produced more than that this year, and he could get more work next year. I'm fine with that.
And he's already 25 too. It's not like
that's why I don't have him at 12. That's why I have him at 14. And I don't have him in the same tier with the other, the higher guys, at all. So I'm probably lower on him overall than most. He's another player in startups I will have none of. That range, that Eckler,
put up
this range, these ones, Javonte. Well, Javonte I might have if he drops low enough, because some people are totally out on him. But Eckler, Chubb, Mixon, and Pollard, those 4, just given where they're actually ranked overall compared to my overall ranking, I won't have any of those 4.
Yeah, Eckler's RB7 on here, dude.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have any Eckler.
That's crazy.
The running backs I might end up with, I could see myself ending up with some Rashad White. Maybe Brian Robinson.
Damian
I think
Pierce
is probably going to be my RB1 on a lot of drafted teams.
About Damian Pierce?
No, thank you. I'm out. I'm totally out on Damian Pierce. I don't want any part of it.
So James Conner is still RB
Dobbins
32,
or Dylan.
I have Conner at 33, so I think the 32 ranking is pretty good.
That's just so crazy. There's guys above him that are probably never going to score as many fantasy points ever.
The problem is you don't get any value for past production. You just don't know. The Cardinals are a team. There's huge risk.
No, I'm talking about in the future, yeah.
No, but the Cardinals are a team.
The
Cardinals are a team who could draft a running back early because that's one of their biggest needs long term. Receivers are if they keep their receivers. They don't really need receiver. Tight end they have. Ertz is still under contract. McBride is there. What do they need? Quarterback. They're stuck under Kyler Murray's contract. Running back for them is a big possibility and is something that has to be considered. Absolutely has to be considered. That's another reason why I'm just not. If James Conner gets to the season, then maybe. But, they have this 35th overall pick and 67 overall. I like a running back in one of those 2 spots. A lot.
I just don't understand the disparity between Pollard and Conner. I can't get over
age and upside for Pollard.
Pollard's 25. They're right at the same clip.
No, that's not. No. For running back, 2 years is all the difference in the world. The difference between 25 and 27, or in this case, it'll be offseason 26 and 28 is everything. 28 is dead in the water to me, and 26 is still alive. So it's all the difference in the world. With running back, every year matters. A year is worth like a round.
Aaron Jones, too.
I also think Tony Pollard is far superior talent to James Conner. James Conner's received more volume in his career, but I think Tony Pollard is a superior talent. Oh, but it does matter because...
I don't think it will.
It does matter because James Conner could be replaced, and I think Tony Pollard, who's going to be a free agent, is going to have an opportunity to pick his spot where he's going to do at least well. That's the difference between the 2.
But he probably won't because free agents never do.
I don't agree. I think he's
going
to be
the last free agent that ever went somewhere and was good.
Oh, I think even if he stays, he's going to be good. He's been good this year. And Zeke is washed. And it's only going to get worse. Jerry Jones, I mean, he could keep him. And I wouldn't have a problem with that. I'm fine with my ranking if he stays. I'm not sure I'd rather him leave. We know that this team has given him a lot of work.
Well,
I'm not sure I would.
Stay.
Depends on where he left for, but I'm not sure that any spot would be better. I think most spots are worse.
Yeah, most.
But there are a few that are better. Of course. Kansas City, of course, being one of them. But,
always.
But it's not the only one. Nowhere. Will Fuller.
Who cares?
Retirement home, sadly.
We're not talking about Will Fuller. Thank you. I agree with me too. I agree with me too.
You think San Francisco wished they had that pick back where they originally had it at 12?
I think they wish they could undo the whole thing.
Undo all of it. Yeah.
Undo
absolutely.
all of it. Yeah.
Some guy named
they traded away 3 first-round picks for a quarterback that they haven't used in 2 years. Of course they wish they could undo all of it.
Some guy named Micah Parsons went at 12.
No, it's not even that. If they had just forget about that. If they had just waited and picked at 11 or 12 originally, they could have just picked Mac Jones.
Yeah, Mac Jones is who they. It's like the teams, like
right, whatever it is. They could have just picked Mac Jones, and then we're not in this scenario. Or I don't know what scenario we're in, but we're not. They have their first the next 2 years. They don't trade 2 years of first for a quarterback they're not going to use. And they could have had even more talent on the team. Like I said, not that they need more, but they could have had more.
What do you guys think about Calvin Ridley?
We'll have to see. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. How he.
Yeah, I'm optimistic about his.
If they don't add anybody, I'm optimistic. If they do, I'm not so optimistic. I'm not so optimistic.
Well, who's anybody?
Well, what if they use their first round pick on a wide receiver? Then I'm not so optimistic.
Right, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's
I
more
still
than
believe
anybody.
that Christian Kirk, I will have as their wide receiver 1, not Calvin Ridley.
I mean, I like Christian Kirk personally.
Yeah, so do
I.
I've always had a soft spot for Christian Kirk. Always.
Remember when that was the worst contract of the offseason that everyone unanimously agreed on?
To be honest with you, I'm still not sure it was.
It's
not the great. It's not a good contract, but it's not as bad.
But
the Patriots gave Aguilar is even.
It's not the worst contract. I'm not going to go and say this was the best contract.
It didn't go worse to best, but it went worse to not worse.
It was.
They got better value out of what they paid Zay Jones than Christian Kirk.
Highway mile.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true.
Galladay's got the worst contract.
But that was 2 years ago.
That was but he was talking about Aguilar.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk was not a bad contract.
No.
McBride has looked pretty good.
An overpay, but he was great.
McBride has looked pretty good, and I do think this is a lesson in why with tight ends only, you got to give it a minute. You cannot panic on a tight end not producing after 10 years. You just can't do it. Tight ends, yes, there were some who did it, but you cannot panic. Like, there were so many people buying Trey McBride low throughout this year, and those people I think are going to be rewarded. You got to give it a minute. Most tight ends take multiple years to develop. Even now, this year is not the norm where a lot of them come in and are useful at the start. You got to give it a minute with tight ends. It's not like running back for sure, or even wide receiver, which is easier to learn. Tight ends take a while. So give it a minute. Like, don't just give up on a high profile tight end prospect because they're not producing right away.
On the other side of that too, which is funny, like even the guys that did produce year 1, they haven't actually done, like Evan Ingram and Kyle Pitts, probably the 2 best tight ends we've seen that produced in their rookie year recently. Well, Gronk more also. Recently. Yeah. And I wouldn't say either of them has really looked like what they looked like they were going to be after their rookie year. So you definitely need the most patience at that position.
Yeah. With tight end for me, with running back, it's like 6 games. It's 6 games. If we don't see something after 6 games, we have a problem.
It's not a year. Yeah.
We have a problem. With wide receiver, I'd say it's 12 games. 12 games is when we start to have a significant problem. It's like after around week 11 or 12, Sky Moore started every week. It was another round down, another problem, another penalty, going down, 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 down. Now he's like off the edge of existence. And Yeah, I have him.
But if they're still playing, I think.
Well, he's not. Well, he's not playing. But he's not playing.
No, he's not playing. But I'm saying like look at Judy,
I have a wide receiver 65.
Judy, stuff like that.
Well, Jerry Judy was not bad as a rookie. That is
exactly. That's what I mean.
That's a lie.
And he still just kept playing.
Yeah, he was fine. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about someone as a wide. We're talking about like what Trey McBride was at the beginning of the season, not playing at all. Like with a running back, it's like 6 games, not even probably like 4 games. It's like a panic. Wide receiver, 10 to 12 games. Tight end though, it's multiple years. Like I don't have to see much. Like I'd like to see them play, but like I'm not going to panic.
Imagine if you kept that very strict 12 weeks for Amon-Ra, though.
But Amon-Ra was not. No.
13 and on.
No, but Amon-Ra.
No, he was playing. He was playing, but he wasn't really showing
much. He was exceeding.
Much.
That's not true. He was exceeding my expectations.
I think
he was absolutely exceeding them.
Many people drafted him at the end of their bench last year, and before 12 weeks in, they were like, "I'm done with him. I'm not the only one."
No. This is not what I'm talking about at all. We're talking about a player. Dynasty, we're talking about a player who, in most of these allegedly bad games that you're talking about, played over 80% of the snaps. This is not.
You never dropped Amon-Ra in Dynasty.
Yeah, no. This is not someone.
We're
talking about someone who in the first.
In terms of redraft.
Yeah, no. We're talking about someone who was out there. Someone who showed. I mean, last year in weeks 4, 5, and 6, had 5 receptions in each of those weeks in his rookie year. That's not a failure.
That's enough to hold.
That's not a failure. That's 3 straight weeks of volume. We're not talking failure.
For Dynasty, for sure.
What I'm talking about is a Sky Moore, someone who not even David Bell really makes this characteristic for me. He was there. I mean, at least he was playing. He was receiving some targets. He was doing something.
He was playing.
He was playing at least. He earned time, something. Sky Moore hasn't even been out there. And I'm not even sure I would say 12 games.
Terrace Marshall yet.
Terrace Marshall, is an example of someone who failed to that degree.
So tragic. Could have been.
Could have been. Big week for Rojo.
We scored.
I hate Rojo.
Yeah.
We know I hate Rojo. Rojo is always someone. I want to check on something important about Rojo. Something very important about Ronald Jones. Yep, still true. Rojo's always one of the names in my alleged trivia game that I'm going to do. Who has more followers, NFL player or Tyler? And Rojo has fewer followers than I do. So, yeah,
sent my first tweet in like months since November 9th.
Oh, wow. You know who else has fewer followers than I do?
Me.
Trey McBride.
Me.
Brock Purdy used to have fewer, but now he has more.
Classic.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. But anyway, this was good. It's almost 3 hours. That barely doesn't feel like 3 hours. All right, tell the people where they can find you or not find you.
They can't find me.
Can't find you.
Find him on Sleeper.
Yeah, Sleeper. Hit me up on Sleeper.
Ryan, you got anything to plug?
Just right here, and we'll be back next week. Yeah.
Yes, we will. Conan?
Absolutely. No, I'm excited. I definitely will be, running more trivia more often. I was really not doing it during like football nights. So now, Monday nights are, free. Thursday nights are free. So I'm going to definitely be trying to do Monday through Thursday at least again, just like the off season last year. So
I love it. And thanks for this, BJ. The support always goes a long way.
Absolutely.
And yeah, for me, like if you want to catch me, like my Patreon is always the best way to support me. There's the link, and it's also in the comment space at the bottom of the show. Tyler FF Creator on Twitter. I actually just wrote my first article for DLF in a while. It's going to publish, I believe, on Thursday, so you can check that out at dynastyleaguefootball.com. My DLF show, name to be determined, will be coming back on January 31st. So it'll be every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern from then on. And I'll keep reminding you guys about that as we go. And then on this channel, Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern every week for this longer show. We'll have a variety of topics. And then I'll do some short videos and some shorts. Over 800 people watched the last short that I did. So I thank everyone who checked that out. They're always 60 seconds or less. So quick in and out if you want to watch that. And yeah, just appreciate everyone in the audience. And I will see you all next time. Peace.
Bye.
See you.